Oh, yeah. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the basement here on this Wednesday night. And oh my God, we got a lot to talk about. Got a little bit of business news when it comes to Warner Brothers. We got some Doomsday stuff to go over. And the biggest story of the day, which just broke a few hours ago, our girl, ScarJo, going to DC. We will get into all of that shizzle in just a little bit. But before we do, fill your cup and light your smoke, because it's time to get nerdy. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the basement. Welcome to the Wednesday night stream, or midweek stream, if you prefer, or hump day, if you want to go that route. How is everyone doing? We have a lot to talk about tonight, folks. We have very, very much. We have Marvel. We have DC. No Star Wars, but that's okay. How is everyone doing this evening? I hope you're all doing well. If you live in an area similar to mine, you are probably enjoying or not enjoying this lovely introduction to winter that's been going on. We got snow. Was that Sunday? Yeah, we got snow Saturday night into Sunday, and then now we're getting more snow tonight, and it's been fucking cold. So, who all is up in here early in the stream? What is happening with my... Oh, okay. We got Spicy Dan up in here, Brooke, Delta Dan, and Derpy. What's up, Derpy? Welcome in. Glad to hear you're fantastic. Brooke, had your performance review for work. It was all right. Just have to work on certain things. I mean, I don't know that anyone can ever get like a completely 100% perfect performance review. Like, it's just facts that everyone has something to work on at some point. That's just the way it is. I mean, you strive for perfection, of course, but you know, if you're knocking out, like, I don't know, to give it a number, like, you know, a performance review with like 90% or 95 or so percent, you know, of everything you're supposed to be doing, you're doing pretty well, and you should get a fucking raise. Yeah. Yep. So what's cracking, guys? Anything fun going on? Time management, dude. I could write you a whole dissertation on how on how I need to be better at time management. Like, if someone studied me, they could write a doctoral thesis on how I could improve time management. And you know it's true because Mrs. Chillin is over here giggling. Watched a video. What if Tyranids enter the alien universe? Ooh, Tyranids versus Xenomorphs. Now, I don't know much about Tyranids. I know they're kind of bug-like critters over in Warhammer, and they operate on a hive. They're kind of like Warhammer's version of the Annihilation Wave. It seems to me. I'm probably wrong. Josh would probably lose his goddamn mind if I said that. Ooh, I should try that in his next stream. I should ask him. Are Tyranids the Annihilation Wave of Warhammer? I should ask. Oh, that's cool. Thanks, Brooke. We dropped that in the Discord as well, so like, you know, those who are currently not here can also enjoy that video. They got inspiration from Xenomorphs. Well, yeah, the original Alien came out in '77. How long has Warhammer been a thing? Okay, yep. Warhammer didn't become a thing until 1983. I believe Alien came out in, what, 79? Yep, 79. So, yeah, that makes sense. Cool. Brennan, what's happening? Let me look up an image. You know what they look like? You know what that looks like? I can see the alien influence. You know what else I see? Sort of Predator influence, but Predator didn't come out till after this. And we got a little Mortal Kombat Goro action going on. Except this came out before Mortal Kombat did. Yeah, those are some pretty fucking wild ass creatures. Look at them. Yowza. Yowza. Very intelligent hive mind? Yeah. Can create anything from their biomass? Wow. You know what that sounds like to me? Symbiotes. Creations of the null. That's what that kind of sounds like. Intelligent hive mind can create anything from their biomass. Sounds like a symbiote. Way scarier. I mean, they're definitely super creepy looking. That's for damn sure. I know I would want, you know, Space Marines or something like that around me if I ever saw one of those fucking things. That's for damn sure. It is for damn sure. So what's up with you, Brennan? Anything much? Never mind, not a mucho. Okay. That's funny. Justin's a closet Warhammer fan. After he gets done playing Rivals, he goes and paints his Eldar army. Things you'd like are the Warhammer live action show? Oh, well, that's coming. An HBO show based on the Doom video game series. That would be cool. It's probably been long enough since the shitty ass movie with The Rock in it. They might be able to do something with that. And and since it already was kind of a cinematic fuck up, maybe putting it on TV would be the move. Yeah, I've heard Josh talk about the Dark Eldari. Completely twisted by chaos. Completely twisted by the chaos. Yeah. Where is Have you been watching It? Welcome to Derry. I still have to watch the updated It movies. I have seen about the next episode is coming up. It's called The Black Spot, and that is taken directly, like directly, from one of the interludes in the novel. Now, I've read the novel a ton. I fucking love that book. The Stand is still my favorite Stephen King novel of all time, and I have the unabridged version, all 1,000 pages, I think it is. I can't remember. I haven't watched it, or I haven't read it in a minute. It's in a box somewhere, I think in my storage unit. But yeah. But yeah, no, I love it. It's a great book. 100%. Dark Tower novel series. I've heard very good things about it. That's a bit of the King that I haven't actually gotten to yet, and I really need to. There's so many things I'm behind on: books, shows, movies. I need to like not sleep like the vampires in Twilight. That's like literally the only way I can get caught up on any fucking thing these days. The only way I could. I could just like not sleep and also for like a year and also simultaneously not suffer the side effects that humans go through without sleep. Like, hallucinations and that kind of thing. I would totally do that if I could. Because then maybe, just maybe I could, and hell, I'm trying to think of all the stuff I could get caught up. Maybe we better make that 2 or 3 years, sans sleep. For me to get caught up on the shit I would like to get caught up. Yeah. Hopefully Josh gets done with his deep dive stream soon so people will fucking come over here. You. Yeah. All right. Well. Is there anything you guys wanna? You guys got any more chit chat, or shall we put on our caps and dive right on in? I have seen the U.S. military being involved in the trailers, and that is original shit. Like, that was not in the novel. Where to begin? Where to begin? You know what? Let's begin with a non-Marvel, non-DCU story, but it involves Zack Snyder. So therefore, we're motherfucking talking about it. You guys ready for this one? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? You know about this? According to Variety, Zack Snyder and Tig Notaro, whoever the fuck that is, are writing a, quote, hot lesbian action movie together, the comedian says. Okay, so Tig Notaro's a comedian. Still don't know who the person is. Let's move on from Snorehammer. All right. So yeah, Zack Snyder and comedian Tig Notaro are writing a hot lesbian action movie together. Now, I had seen this story earlier, and it originally just said that Zack was producing, but now it looks like he's not only producing, but co-writing. I really hope the was that Tig Notaro is doing more of the writing, because we've all seen what happens when Zach is doing the writing and not just handling the directing and coming up with like the overall story. In case you're not 100% sure what I'm referring to when it comes to Zack Snyder's writing ability, I am talking about Rebel Moon. If you need proof that Zack Snyder should never pick up a pen or type onto a keyboard uh, on a script, there's your proof. Tig is a comedian. Yeah, it says that. I've never heard of Tig. Never seen Tig. Have you seen Tig? Is Tig funny? I am just 100% unfamiliar with Tig Notaro. But yeah, so the idea of Zach actually co-writing this makes me nervous for the movie. Hopefully, Tig can keep him in check. However, we know Zach can do action. He might get a little heavy on the slow mo sometimes, but the man knows how to film a fucking action scene, and I don't care what anyone says. Even if he does go overboard with slow mo, I don't care. Zach knows action. And if you've read some of the stuff he said, Zach's also a motherfucking freak. What was that he wanted to do? I think something having to do with Alexander the Great, except he was going to lean hard into Alexander the Great's alleged homosexual side. Like Zach was, the way he was talking about the movie he wanted to make, there going to be some man love happening in that movie. So the fact that he's co-writing a hot lesbian action movie is not surprising to me. One bit. It makes sense. Zach's a freak. That's all there is to it. So, all right. So this is a quote from Tig Notaro. She says, I don't really want to get into the whole fucking article. This pretty much sums up everything we need to know. She said, they, not sure. Oh, she. Okay. Tig Notaro says, she says, what if we just went for it and everyone's a hot lesbian? Zach was like, oh my God, yes, let's make that movie. And so, who knows? It's a Hollywood project. We're in the process of putting the script together. Picture this poster. We have the name of the film, and then it says hot lesbian action. That's how I sold them on the Zoom. As of now, the movie is called Deviants and takes place back in some old-timey days like some closeted deviants. All right. I watched both the original versions of Rebel Moon, and then everyone was talking about how his director's cuts were so much better. So I watched the first one, the first director's cut, and well, most of it. I don't think I finished it, and I never watched the second director's cut. So, yeah. So, what do you guys think? Zack Snyder co-writing a hot lesbian action movie. How do you guys feel about that? I'll tell you what I feel. I'm down. I'm here for it. There are plenty of attractive actresses who probably would have zero problems playing a lesbian in an action movie. I can think of a few I'd personally like to see. Aubrey Plaza would be dope. I mean, we've all seen Agatha all along. She has no problem rocking lesbian action. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves, chat. When her and Catherine Hahn made out, we loved it. Do not deny it. You thought it was awesome, and so did I. So, and what's funny, and I posted about this, is there's the usual crowd, the anti-woke crowd, who probably are very much torn right now. Why would they be torn, you ask? Well, I'll tell you. Zack Snyder, a lot of his stuff is, frankly, it's there's a lot of Giga Chad to snack snack Zider. Jesus Christ. There's a lot of Giga Chad vibes to a lot of Zack Snyder's work. I mean, think about his filmography. 300, Dawn of the Dead, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, his Justice League, Rebel Moon's pretty Giga Chad. I mean, yet the lead is a female, but overall the vibe is still Giga Chad. Like, let's be real about it. So, of course, a lot of that crowd loves Zack Snyder. But now Zack Snyder is doing an action movie with hot lesbians. And of course, if according to those people, if there are members of the LGBTQ community in a movie, that movie is automatically woke and trash, right? We've all seen it from those butt wipes before. That's how they roll. But here's the thing. They love Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder does a lot of Giga Chad shit. So, of course, they're going to want to be like, that movie's woke. But then they're also going to be like, but it's fucking Zack Snyder. And if they're being very, very honest with themselves by some miracle, or by an even bigger miracle, they're honest in public, you know what they would say? You know what they would admit to in a moment of 100% pure honesty? Any ideas? Any guesses as to what they would admit to if they were being totally honest? I'll tell you. They would admit that they thoroughly enjoy watching girl-on-girl action on the Hub or a similar website. Like, they're totally fine with lesbians and corn. It's one of those words I'm not sure about YouTube, so I'm not going to start it with a P. I'm going to do the TikTok thing and call it corn, just to be on the safe side. But yeah. You know those jackasses love watching girl-girl action on the Hub. You know they do. They just don't want it on, like, their main Hollywood stuff. They're going to cry like little bitches if that happens. So I just think it's funny that Zack Snyder is going balls deep into a lesbian movie. Kind of a contradiction in terms if you think about it. But you know what I mean. So, like, real talk though. If I'm curious. I wonder if the Deviants is going to stay the title. But yeah. A period piece, a period action movie centered around hot lesbians. I mean, I don't know if I'll go to the theater for that motherfucker, but I'm definitely watching it. Yeah, one of my buddies on Twitter, when he saw that, he quote tweeted and says, I need Sydney Sweeney and Anna de Armas. And you know what? I have no argument. I may have other suggestions if I think about it for a while, but I have no argument with that scenario. No argument whatsoever. So yeah. Zack Snyder teaming up with, I already forgot the comedian's name, Tig something or other, Tig Notaro. They are teaming up to write a script, and Zack Snyder will produce a movie called Deviants, which is a period piece action movie centered around hot lesbians. And Chillin' is here for it. What do you guys think? How do you feel about that movie? How do you feel about Zack Snyder's involvement with that movie? Let me know. Tell me your thoughts, chat. Share with me your opinions, your feelings. You can direct decently, but doesn't seem like he's the best at writing the script. Yeah, well, yeah. That's how I feel about it, sir. Rebel Moon was visually fantastic. Yeah, it was visually fantastic. It looked really fucking good. All right. Any further thoughts before we move on, chat? Anything you'd like to say about this subject? Brennan, devil on one shoulder says yes, and the angel on the other says no. Yeah, that's fair. I can totally see that. I can totally see that. Guitar, like R. Kelly said, my mind is saying no, but my body, I don't see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind. Okay, I'm done now. Don't leave. Don't everyone run away. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I promise. I'm done. Don't leave. Shit, there went one already. That was too slow. I sang too much, and it's over. Damn it. Damn it. Oh, well. Oh, well. Where'd it go? Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. That. Okay. Cool. Where'd it go? What the fuck is even happening with this shit? I literally just bookmarked it. There it is. You motherfucker. Okay. Alrighty. Alright. Let us move on then, chat, shall we? Let us proceed into some Marvel stuff. We're going to do Marvel first. Instead of ending with Marvel like we normally do, because that's the bigger news. And you think anything about Doomsday, which we're going to talk about some shit about Doomsday 100% for sure. You think that would still be at this point bigger news than just about anything else. But it's not. So this time, I have two of those on there. Okay. This time, however, the DC news is the biggest. So we will get to that later. in the climax, as it were. Okay. All right. So, first little tidbit. Now, there's been a lot of reporting about when the Doomsday trailer will drop, or we will get a look at least some sort of trailer, whether it be a full-length trailer or teaser, whatever. Much reporting on this. A lot of one of the first people to report on when we would get it was Chris Gore. Y'all remember when he talked about that, gave us the breakdown on what it was going to be. And he, as much as he can confirm something, and it has since been corroborated by other scoopers and whatnot online, the Doomsday trailer is supposed to be attached to Avatar Fire and Ash, which premieres December 18th. I mean, Thursday is previews December 17th, yada yada. So maybe we'll just call it December 17th. No, the 18th is a Thursday. Yeah. So it premieres December 18th. And the news for the longest time has been that it will be attached to Avatar Fire and Ash. Now, within the last week or so, there have been some rumblings that we could get, if not a full trailer, or if not even a full teaser, a taste, as it were, of the upcoming Doomsday trailer at either CCXP or Tokyo Comic-Con, which are both happening this very weekend. They are both running from December 5th through December 7th. CCXP in Brazil, and of course, Tokyo Comic-Con in Tokyo, Japan. So there's been some rumblings that we will get a taste of the Doomsday trailer at one or both of those. Well, now, earlier today, a few hours ago, way too early in the stream to yawn. The Beyond reporter, whom we've talked about before, and fairly reliable, pretty reliable. No one's 100%, but fairly reliable. Although you recall, I had to correct that motherfucker on a couple things last week, and then he changed a couple tweets to update it. So anyway, so the Beyond reporter says this: the first trailer for Avengers Doomsday will be released on December 11th. December 11th. That is 1 week from tomorrow. So 8 days from today and 15 days before the premiere of Avatar Fire and Ash. Now, there's been some tweets out there like about Fantastic Four, the scene where they're talking about they always have dinner, like it's set 7 p.m. every Sunday, family dinner. Now, some people were speculating that we could get the Doomsday trailer this Sunday, December the 7th at 7 p.m. Wait, is Sunday the 7th? Sunday's the 7th, right? Today's the 3rd. Yeah, Sunday's the 7th. Which makes sense. 7 p.m. on the 7th. I haven't been... I swear, sometimes I say shit that makes me feel like I've just been doing this for like a fucking week. Not like almost 2 years live streaming. Yeah, so there's been some speculation that we could get it this coming Sunday, December 7th at 7 p.m. But that's just pure speculation. That doesn't even qualify as a rumor. That's just people throwing that idea out there. So, I have seen some people push back on this, saying that they don't see it really happening because Marvel generally doesn't drop trailers on Thursdays. They tend to do it early in the week so they can dominate the whole news cycle for a week. if at all possible. That's been one of the pushbacks. People are just flat out saying this dude's wrong, and we're not going to get it till Avatar: Fire and Ash, at least not on a wide release. So I guess the best I can say, again, is that the Beyond Reporter's fairly accurate most of the time, but not all the time, obviously. In my opinion, I give this, and this is not disparagement on the Beyond Reporter. Let me say that right from jump. This is not disparagement of the Beyond Reporter. I just give this maybe a 30% chance of being true. It's just kind of not how Marvel rolls. I think that's probably the most accurate pushback I've seen on this. That is not how Marvel rolls. It's just a very odd day in the news cycle, a Thursday. Generally kind of a throwaway day. That's when you drop shit that, you don't really care if people notice or not. Outside of a Sunday, that is. Thursday's another day like a Sunday. Fridays are big because, you drop something big, people talk about it all motherfucking weekend. Or you drop something in the beginning of the week so they can talk about it all motherfucking week. Thursday's just Thursday and Sundays are just kind of a throwaway day for announcements, like really. So, I am skeptical, because that's how it's fucking pronounced, Josh, not skeptic. I am skeptical that this will happen, but I will not say that it definitely won't. Goof! What up? I will say it's possible, but in my mind, just mine, it's unlikely. What do you guys think? You think the Beyond Reporter is accurate? Think we will actually get the Doomsday trailer 1 week from tomorrow? Spicy Dan! Motherfucker, I gotta quit yawning. God damn it. Yeah. What do you guys think? True or not? What say you, chat? You still think we get it when Avatar drops in the theaters? Which is the 19th? Yeah, that's the Friday. But as we all know, Thursday previews are huge. And that's when people see the trailer first, is on Thursdays. The one attached to Avatar. Now, mind you, even if they decide to show a little teaser this weekend at either CCXP and or Tokyo Comic Con, we already knew that they have 30 plus versions of Doomsday trailers. So it is entirely possible that they could drop a taste of Doomsday at CCXP, a different small taste of Doomsday at Tokyo Comic Con. They could drop something on the 11th. That's neither of those two. And they could drop a fourth version, or they could attach a fourth version to Avatar: Fire and Ash. They literally could do that. They have over 30 versions of this motherfucker. Now, I don't know if they'd want to drop 4 different versions of it in a 2-week period because, well, they still have a year of marketing to go. And there are reports coming out, or have been coming out, that like this is going to be the biggest, most insane marketing push Marvel has ever done, even more than what they did for Infinity War and Endgame. There are even people saying that this marketing campaign, which is going to go on for the next year, could cost around $500 motherfucking million. Like, if that's true, and then the production budget of the movie itself is like 500 million, that's $1 billion total. By the conventional formula, that means Doomsday would need to make 2.5 billion just to break even. So I'm hoping those numbers are off. Like, real talk. Although, if it doesn't hit 2, even if it doesn't hit 2.5, if it not just cracks a billy, but like creeps up on 2 billion, even if they don't break even, Marvel and Disney are going to be fucking stoked, because if that movie pops off for like, 1.5 billion or more, they'll know they got the audience back. So I feel like they would take that hit, that financial hit, and of course with what I will politely call creative Hollywood accounting, but more accurately would be shady Hollywood accounting. They would find a way to reduce the loss in some fashion or another. And again, if Doomsday pops off for 1.5 or more, then even if it doesn't technically make money at the box office, Marvel and Disney will be happy, because, again, you crack 1.5 billion and start creeping up on 2, you're back. People enjoy you still. People want you still. All that kind of good shit. So, what the fuck did I just do? Whoops. I meant to click on that, not kill the window. What a dummy. Am I still live? Okay, yep, says I'm still live. Okay, cool. Yay. We still good? Am I still here? We still here? Okay, cool. Anywho. So, yep, we will see. We will see if we get, well, first of all, we'll see what we may get this weekend. Because, if there's some Doomsday footage that happens at either CCXP or Tokyo, if not both, that shit going to be online by Saturday night. You know it is. And if I can get my grubby little paws on some of that, you know what we're going to be talking about Saturday night. That's for fucking sure. I mean, we're going to be talking about CCXP and Tokyo Comic Con regardless. At least a little bit. How much depends on what drops and if it's cool. But I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit. 100%. So. All right. Any further thoughts on the potential of Doomsday, of a version of the Doomsday trailer dropping on the 11th of this month, 1 week from tomorrow? Any more thoughts on that? Any more thoughts on that? Yes, no, maybe so. Or shall we move on to the next one? All right. We shall move on to the next one. Okay, so you guys know about Alex from the Cosmic Circus, right? We've talked about him. He does those Discord Q&As that I'm all over whenever they get dropped, right? Alex Perez. Y'all familiar with that dude? Top tier scooper. Well, randomly this morning, like super randomly this morning, and I got lucky and I noticed it very shortly after he posted this. But he dropped an interesting little doodad on Twitter this morning. It's just a GIF, but this is what it is. Remember this from the end of Multiverse of Madness? Yeah, America Chavez and Doctor Strange here at the end of Multiverse of Madness. Now, as we all know from all his Discord Q&As that we've gone over here on this channel, Alex Perez can get quite cryptic, but he is never random. Does that make any sense? He'll say something or post something like, this in a very cryptic manner, but he doesn't just post or say things randomly just to say them. Like, he's very intentional with what he says in posts. No matter the level of detail he cares to share, it's always intentional. Okay? You following? Am I making sense? So, him posting a GIF of America Chavez, that feels pretty intentional. Now, here's the fun part about that. For quite some time, a lot of the scoopers, let me rephrase that. Quite a while ago, a lot of the scoopers were saying that America Chavez is not going to be in Doomsday. That the most likely scenario for the cast in their various groups to get around the multiverse was going to be due to the power set, the power cosmic of young Franklin Richards, who in Doomsday will be right around 7 to 10 years old. Okay, that's what they reported. No America Chavez. They're going to be using Franklin's power cosmic to get around. Okay, but now we have Alex hinting that that is not the case. That we in fact will get America Chavez in Doomsday. Now, to me, that makes a fuck ton of sense. Like, first of all, her character is not bad. She's kind of a cool character. Could have been written better. I will say that much. Like, they could have written her with a bit more depth and whatnot, but overall, she's a pretty decent character. Of course, the usual suspects were crying in their cereal because she had two moms and she had some sort of pride symbol on her denim coat. Yeah, suck a dick, whiny ass bastard. But let's think about who she is. She is, first of all, a one of one. There are literally no other America Chavezes in the entire multiverse, at least according to the movie Multiverse of Madness and what they set up in there. She is the only version of herself. How do we know this? Because she does not dream. And as we found out in Multiverse of Madness, when you are dreaming about what seems to be yourself, you're actually looking through the eyes of one of your variants out there in the multiverse. And since America Chavez does not dream, that means that there's only one of her. That there are no other variants of her whose eyes she can peer through in her sleep. Just one of her. And she is also the only character that does not need any sort of aid, scientific, magical, or otherwise, to jump from universe to universe. She's the only one. Everyone else needs to develop some tech, cast a spell, or even combine the two in order to hop between universes. America Chavez does not. Her power to traverse the multiverse is innate. She was born with it. It's what she does. And to me, at least, it makes a fuck ton more sense to have America Chavez in Doomsday as a very reliable way of traversing the multiverse without having to resort to all the time and effort it would take to construct a conveyance that was capable of that, or cast a spell that was capable of that. And by the way, if any of you were on Josh's stream last night going over that video from A Bit of Everything, the guy from that channel pointed out that at least up until the post-credit scene of Thunderbolts, there was no technology, nor is there currently a spell, even in the Darkhold, that will allow someone to travel between universes. Not branches, full-on universes. Only America can do that right now. Now, you can dreamwalk into another universe, but unless you're America Chavez or now whoever's in that Fantastic Four ship at the end of Thunderbolts, you're stuck in your own universe, and that's the end of it. So, I think it makes much more logical sense to have America Chavez being the conveyance for our heroes around the multiverse. Than it does a second grader by the name of Franklin Richards. I don't care if he has the fucking power cosmic. It just makes more sense for America Chavez to be doing it. Yep. Molecule Man is he's like the opposite case of America, as you mentioned, Brooke. There's only one America Chavez, but under normal circumstances, variants of anybody are mostly the same from universe to universe, but there's always some sort of difference. There's been one exception to that I can think of, and that is the Molecule Man. His history and everything is literally the same in every universe. There are slight minor deviations, like, for example, the accident that gives him his powers is slightly different from universe to universe, but it's always essentially the same kind of accident. He always grew up the same. So that's what sets Molecule Man apart, is the fact that his variants are 99% identical in everything. And then there's America Chavez, where there's just literally one of her. Period. So, now, mind you, this is what Alex did here is not a declaration. He's not saying exclusive. America Chavez is going to be in Avengers Doomsday. No, he's just posting a GIF. But again, while he's cryptic, he's not random. There is intention behind this greater than just being like, hey, I'm going to post a GIF of America Chavez talking to Doctor Strange this morning because I feel like it. Feeling cute, might post a GIF of America Chavez. That didn't happen. So, assuming, and which is what we have to do right now, because again, he gave us no more detail than, come on, this GIF. That's literally all he posted. But at least to me, chat, I think he's at least teasing or hinting that America Chavez will be in Avengers Doomsday and probably Secret Wars to boot after all. And I think it makes total sense. What say you, chat? How do you think, A, do you think that is what he is teasing / hinting? And B, how do you feel about it if she is going to be in the movie? Are you down for America being back? Are you like, no thank you? Do you not even give a fuck? What do you think, chat? Brooke's down for her return. Anybody else? A yes, B sure makes sense. Thank you, Brennan. All right. You fucking stay muted, you hoe. All right. Okay. Any other thoughts on the potential return of America Chavez before we move on to the biggest part of the Marvel section for this evening? Anything else? Okay. Okay. All right, chat. Let us move on to the biggest Marvel dealie we have to talk about this evening, at least in this guy's opinion. And since it's my channel, that's how it is. All right. So, a couple days ago, or yesterday, I don't know, depends on European time. Disney was having a showcase in Italy, and they put out a video featuring Doomsday cast and some cool stuff like that. And people have a lot to say about it. Most of it, obviously, we know about the cast, who they are, but thanks to 5 hours of chairs. But there's a little bit of a rehashing. Some of the captions appear to be nailing down some details. But a lot of what people are talking about is less who was on there and more so who wasn't. You'll see what I mean here in a bit. So, someone took this video. So we're gonna watch the video all the way through once, and then we're gonna go back, and then we will talk about various little sections of it. Okay, here we go. Straight through, no pausing. Off we go. I lied. Okay, here we go. I don't know what kind of music's playing in the background, but I'm not risking it. Okay. All right. Okay, so that was it. 37 seconds. Okay. So now let us go bit by bit through this puppy. So we start off with the most updated logo that they're going with for Doomsday. It's basically what we've seen before. Different shading of the background colors. I think the letters are a bit different. I think they were more green before. So this is, it looked a lot more like this. Duh. So evidently this is the most updated logo. I don't know if this is going to be the final one or if they're going to go back to something like this. But this is where we're at least for now. I like it. Okay. So they begin by showing us the Russo brothers directors. And this is what got some people's attention. Robert Downey Jr., Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom. Okay, so first of all, kind of thank you, Captain Obvious. We know he's playing Doctor Doom. But here's this is one of the examples of what people didn't see that they were talking about. Number one, even though it's still probably going to fucking happen, Tony Stark's name is not on here. That's number one. Although that's probably, like so many other things, something they're hiding. Because seriously, do we really think they're paying Robert Downey Jr. $50 million a movie, $100 million total, probably with points on the back end as well, I would imagine. Now, yes, he was introduced as being the only one who could play the real Doctor Doom. That's how the Russo brothers have been billing him, and Kevin Feige is the Doctor Doom. Okay? Okay. So yeah, no Tony Stark's name here. And again, that's significant. Because a lot of people are like, okay, wait, no Tony Stark Iron Man in this? Yeah, if you're only willing to believe what's on the surface, then yeah, that's what this means. No, that is not fucking what this means. However, some people are taking this, Josh for one, to mean that his theory about Tony Stark, 616 Tony Stark, I am Iron Man, snap, was actually a Victor Von Doom variant rather than the other way around. Now, I don't see how this guarantees that by any stretch of the imagination. I think part of that is the fact that the name Tony Stark isn't listed on here. It's just Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom, which again is fairly Captain Obvious. Like, no surprise here. But a lot of people are, again, just looking on the surface. They're going, oh, Tony Stark's name is not there. Guess we're not getting Iron Man in this movie. I mean, maybe, but no. We're getting... Those two are going to face off. Again, they didn't pay him all that money to just be Doctor Doom. They didn't pay him all that money to be a villain that also has the face of the most popular hero in the MCU. Like, they didn't pay him... Like, they paid him for his face because they're planning on doing stuff. They're planning on causing emotional damage, not to just the characters, but the audience. Like the Russos have flat out said, they want to challenge the audience. So, anywho, that's why people are latching onto this. Moving along. Okay, so now we are getting the teams. First up, obviously, no big surprise, Fantastic Four. And here we have you remember the laser light show where it showed the Avengers symbol, the X-Men symbol, and the Wakandan symbol, right? Remember that? So here are our official representatives of Wakanda, Shuri, M'Baku, and Namor. Now, when it comes to this little grouping, I don't know if this is the Wakanda group is going to be expanded on past this. I mean, they could throw some Dora Milaje in there or whatever, but for now, we're just getting Shuri, M'Baku, and Namor. And again, talking about designations. Again, Robert Downey Jr., Victor Von Doom, Doctor Doom. We have the Fantastic Four. Reed Richards, a.k.a. Mr. Fantastic. Sue Storm, a.k.a. the Invisible Woman. Johnny Storm, a.k.a. the Human Torch. Ben Grimm, a.k.a. the Thing. And now we get to the Wakanda team. Shuri, M'Baku, and Namor. Now, what a lot of people latched onto is the fact that, again, you see what's different here, guys? Are you noticing the difference We have their street names, and we have their hero names. Ain't no hero name under Shuri. Some people out there in the interwebs were rejoicing because it just says Shuri. It doesn't say Shuri, Black Panther. And the not insignificant number of people who do not want Shuri as the full-time Black Panther, they want T'Challa back. I'm one of them. Are rejoicing at the apparent fact that they're not listing her as Black Panther underneath her street name like they are for these guys. There's rejoicing in the streets. However, there have been reports that she is going to be the Black Panther, even going into Black Panther 3 in the next phase / saga. So, at this point, it's kind of a we're going to have to wait and see kind of thing for a fucking year to see if that pans out and she, for whatever reason, ends up giving up the mantle, which is why they don't have Black Panther here underneath Shuri. But again, this is just speculation, right? Based on this pattern being broken. Okay? Purely speculative. Some people are running with that and going, woo! But we'll see. We'll see how that all works out. Because again, we have plenty of reports out, well, scoops, I guess, to be more accurate, leaks, insider information, as it were, that she will have the mantle of Black Panther going into Black Panther 3. So, we'll see how that ends up working out as time goes on. And as Josh says, we'll find out together. Okay. And here we have the Sam Wilson version of Avengers. Okay, you motherfucker. I don't like this camera person. They done fucked it up. Okay, here we go. So, this is the Sam Wilson Avengers crew. Shang-Chi, not a big surprise. Joaquin Torres Falcon, not a surprise. Sam Wilson Cap, not a surprise. Why do they always use his smirking picture, though? Like for realsies. We know there are other pictures of Anthony Mackie floating around out there. But yet Marvel chooses to use this fucking smirk again. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, does that matter even one bit? No, it doesn't. Not at all. I just think it's funny and slightly ridiculous that it's always the smirk in the promotional materials. Anyway, and then of course, Paul Rudd is Scott Lang, Ant-Man. But this is what really got people excited. We got Hemsworth Thor and Hiddleston Loki listed as being on this Avengers team. That's pretty interesting. Because as far as we know, I forget as far as we know Loki is on the throne, which is probably Celestial Tech, at the end of time, literally holding the multiverse together with his fucking hands, right? And then forming the big Yggdrasil tree around him, as we saw at the end of Loki season 2. So he's pretty much fucking stuck. And it's long been speculated / assumed that he'd be spending most of his time there. Now, there have been reports that he is going to be popping up at Steve and Peggy's house. So, obviously, he's found a way to traverse the multiverse in some manner while also leaving the main part of himself holding it together back at the end of time. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could be very well part of Sam Wilson's Avengers. It's entirely possible. We'll see how they end up working that out, but it's still pretty damn cool. And then, of course, we have Hemsworth Thor. Now, when we last left Thor, he was running around the galaxy with the, I guess, Child of Eternity, Love from the end of Love and Thunder. But now that he's being listed on the, for lack of a better term, main Avengers team. Because technically the Thunderbolts are the new Avengers with a Z, right? So Thor being on the main Avengers team. Now, a few Q&As ago, don't remember if it's been months or how many months or whatever, but a few Q&As ago, or a few parts to Q&As ago, I should say, maybe, because I can't remember exactly when this was brought up. But Alex Perez talked about, or had mentioned, because someone asked him about what Thor's involvement was going to be like in Doomsday. And they asked him if it would be something akin to Infinity War. And he said it will be close to Infinity War, but he will show up in Doomsday a lot more quickly, at least especially for like in a major way, a lot more quickly than he did in Infinity War when he came rolling into Wakanda in the third act. Obviously, we saw him before that. You know, he was in the very beginning when Thanos attacked. He and Rocket went roaming to what's the name of that place? I can hear it in my head, but not all the way. Anyway, where he went and got Stormbreaker made. So, got some screen time there, had a little adventure there. And then, of course, the big arrival in Wakanda. Okay? Which is where we saw most of his screen time. He got a decent amount with the Guardians and a decent amount getting Stormbreaker made. But for the most part, his biggest impact was in Act 3. Alex intimated in that Q&A that he would be in a significant way much more quickly. So, speculatively, beginning, middle of the second act, or maybe even end of first, beginning of second. Right? So, yeah. And of course, everyone has been dying for these two to be reunited now that we have a version of Loki alive again. So, big emotional impact scene there. Paul Rudd appears to have chapped lips, I guess. But yeah, so this is pretty dope. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly how they work all that out and when they're going to reunite these two. Will it be early in the movie? Will it not be towards the end when at the final battle at the TVA? I think that's where the final battle will be because Loki will probably be Doom's last piece to the puzzle. He'll probably have gathered up everyone else by then. And then now he's got to go to Loki, take his power, and take the multiverse that he's been handling, allow it to be destroyed, and then rebuild it in the image of Doom. Yeah. So that's the, again, for lack of a better term, main Avengers team. And then we have the Thunderbolts, a.k.a. the new Avengers. No surprises here. Bucky, Yelena, Sentry, Ghost, U.S. Agent, and Red Guardian. No surprises. Actually, you know what? John Walker doesn't have an appellation under his either. It doesn't say U.S. Agent under here. Bucky, Winter Soldier, Yelena. They didn't put Black Widow under there. They could have, but they didn't. We got Robert Reynolds, Sentry. I can't remember her street name, but Ghost. The homie, Red Guardian. I don't know his street name either. But no U.S. agent underneath John Walker. Just like there was no Black Panther under Shuri's name. So the question then becomes, why? Is there truly significance to Shuri not having Black Panther underneath her name and John Walker not having U.S. Agent underneath his street name? I'm not sure if there's any real significance to that, but it is at the least curious. And then, of course, we have the Fox X-Men. Well, technically MCU Gambit, but Fox X-Men. Of course, Patrick Stewart, Xavier Professor X. Rebecca Romaine back as Mystique. Channing Tatum is Gambit, of course. James Marsden's Scott Summers Cyclops. Alan Cumming. Kurt Wagner, Nightcrawler. Kelsey Grammer as Hank McCoy Beast. And, of course, I should have said this. Let me go back. Sir Patrick Stewart. And at the other end of the sandwich, Sir Ian McKellen as Eric Lyncher, Magneto. No real surprises, nothing to really, super talk about on this one. The people we knew were coming, no weirdness with the names. They could have put Raven Darkholme, but, that's completely unnecessary. And they could have put Remy LeBeau along with Gambit with Channing, but, I don't really think that matters too much. It would be more weird if it was like, Shuri and John Walker, because their superhero appellations are here, Mystique, Gambit. But with those other two, again, it was just street names with no superhero label whatsoever. And then all of them put together. Is there anything else at the end of this? Or is that it? Nope, that's pretty much it. Now, we've gone over the characters. Slight weirdness with names. Wait a second. But there's one other thing about this cast list that has people talking. And here's where we get into the fun territory. So, buckle up. Now, a lot of people have pointed out, both angry about it and happy about it, that, number one, not a ton of ladies on here. And number two, unless I am misreading it, outside of really John Walker. Movie. Okay, outside of John Walker and the new Falcon. So outside of the new Falcon and U.S. Agent, no one on this list was introduced in a Disney Plus TV show. That's observation number one. Or actually number two, behind the fact that there are not a ton of ladies. There's a few, obviously, and they're badasses. They're badasses. Sue Storm, Elena, fucking Mystique. Ghost is pretty cool. Shuri. But that's it, y'all. So, there are people bugging about the lack of females there, and there are people bugging about the lack of Disney Plus characters. Now, we have had plenty of reports that, well, not plenty. There have been reports, specifically from Gary at Nerdrotic, Waffle, that there were not going to be a lot of Disney Plus characters in this movie. Along with some of the other less well-received movie characters. And we will get to those that are missing in that manner in a moment. But yeah, you're not seeing. And again, this is just the known cast. Let's keep that in mind. This is just the known cast. We know they're hiding a bunch of shit, right? We know they're doing additional photography early next year, February, March-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. So this list could very easily grow. Well, will grow. Let me put it that way. This list will grow. We know they're hiding characters. But for now, at least, there is both rejoicing in the streets and lamenting in the streets over the low count of females in this list and just in general missing all the characters that were introduced on Disney Plus, most of which were in shows that were abject fucking failures. Okay? So that's a couple things about who's missing from this list. Now, let's go through and discuss the possibility of who's missing that we think will be in there. Obviously, we know Steve's going to be in it. We know Peggy's going to be in it. There are a lot of reports that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is going to be in it. Now, when it comes to the OG Avengers who are not listed on here, when it comes to needing characters with power to fight Doom, and you'll need all the fucking help you can get, you'll notice there is no Captain Marvel on here. No Brie Larson. Now, again, Gary from Nerdrotic said she wasn't going to be in the movie. Personally, regardless of how you feel about Brie Larson, not having Captain Marvel around to fight Doctor Doom, in my opinion, is goddamn stupid. She is literally outside of Sentry, she is the most powerful character available. Like, period. At least in terms of like actual power, strength, and durability and that kind of thing. Obviously, Professor Xavier's telepathy, Omega level. Magneto's an Omega level mutant. So there are people here who could probably kick her ass, but it'd be damn tough. But just in terms of, brute force, you need Captain Marvel around to fight Doctor Doom and whoever the hell he decides to bring along with him. And there's all kinds of rumors and speculation about that, but that's something totally as an aside to this. So Captain Marvel, very important in terms of power. I think we'll probably end up in the movie, but she's not listed here. No Kate Bishop, no Moon Knight, no Ms. Marvel. She's not listed. No Monica Rambeau, although she's obviously going to be in it because she's in Earth 10,005 with the Fox X-Men. Right? So she's going to be in it. Captain Marvel's going to be in it. Has to be. Again, makes no sense not to have a character with that level of power around. That would just be stupid. But when it comes to the rest of the Disney Plus characters, again, Kate Bishop, Ms. Marvel, Moon Knight, She-Hulk. Although it would appear the bigger reason that She-Hulk's not going to be in is because Tatiana Maslany wants nothing to do with Disney right now because she's fucking pissed. They could recast, obviously, if they really want She-Hulk in it. Hopefully they're fine without her. Because, I did not hate the show. Like, I didn't hate it. It wasn't good, but I didn't hate it. But yeah, it was not a good show. The finale was complete fucking hot garbage. That was one of the lamest versions of fourth wall breaking I have ever seen. So yeah, don't see her. Don't see Echo. And we're going to see the Scarlet Witch. Not 100% sure if we're going to see either of the boys, Wiccan or Speed. Not 100% sure. Yeah, Also, from missing from the Fox X-Men are Halle Berry, Storm, and Famke Janssen. That is how you correctly pronounce her name, by the way, chat. Someone tell Josh. And we're not seeing Famke Janssen, Jean Grey. Halle Berry, it's been widely reported, doesn't want to do it. She just don't want to do it. And Famke has repeatedly claimed that she hasn't gotten the call. And that she's also not like super interested in doing it. She'd be willing to, but she hasn't gotten the call. She has said this repeatedly. She is a repeat denier of her presence in the movie. Now, I will not 100% believe it until I'm walking out of the theater and don't see her because, well, we all know Marvel actors tend to be full of shit when asked directly if they're going to be in a project or not. Right? They tend to lie. A lot. So it is possible that they managed to back up a Brinks truck to both those ladies, Halle Berry and Famke Janssen, and convince them to be in the movie by dropping shit tons of cash in their lap. Yeah, you don't see Bruce Banner Hulk here. We know he's going to be in Brand New Day. That's confirmed. He's not confirmed for Doomsday. Let's see who else is not confirmed. Obviously, we're not seeing ScarJo in here, but a lot of reports that she is not that interested in coming back as Black Widow, and now we have further proof that her time on screen with Marvel, at least, they're still talking about her producing that blonde whatever show behind the scenes. But yeah, in front of the camera as Natasha Romanoff, probably not fucking happening. So you don't see her. And obviously you don't see Iron Man, although, again, it makes no sense to pay Robert Downey Jr. all that money to just be Doom. Or a Doom variant. Or a couple other characters. Again, if you go back to that whole Chris Claremont panel where he waxed extravagant about Doomsday and what he'd heard about it, he said RDJ is going to be playing 4 characters. Now, obviously, Victor Von Doom. And then if you go back to that birthday card with the floppy hair and then that picture of him at the birthday party with the same floppy hair, and then you add in the leak that they're going from RPK, there are going to be multiple Dooms, and that one of the Dooms is going to be wearing a mask with no mouth, which is exactly what the kind of mask that the floppy-haired Doom was wearing on that birthday card. Then, of course, he's probably going to be playing 616 Tony Stark. So, yeah, Downey's going to be busy. They're paying him a lot of money to do a lot of shit. He's going to be doing a lot of shit. Let's see. Don't see Steve Rogers, but he's going to be in it. We know that, along with Peggy. Don't see Vision. We'll see where he ends up at the end of Vision Quest. Don't see any of the Guardians. Most specifically, we don't see Chris Pratt, even though Star-Lord is on Earth living with his grandpa right now. So I don't know how he could avoid what's going to be happening on Earth in Doomsday. So I figure he'll probably end up in it, but he's not here. Yeah, so Marvel is hiding a shit ton. So it is entirely possible that we could end up with more female superheroes in this movie. It's entirely possible that we could end up with more Disney Plus characters in this movie because they're hiding shit. Now, we will hopefully in the spring when they start the additional photography, we'll get an idea of what they've been hiding. I'm sure some shit will come out that'll, confirm some of the speculation that's happening right now. But for now, pretty dude heavy in here. And there's some people that are quite butthurt about it, and there's some people that are quite celebratory about it. Me, I do firmly believe, because pretty much all of Hollywood is doing this, they are shifting back away from a lot of the progressive shit that they've been doing for the last few years. Um, there's some circumstantial evidence that this has been happening for a while. I mean, we first heard reports about how Marvel was revamping their shit like what, a year and a half ago. When did the story break about the Daredevil Born Again being remade? How long ago was that story? Anyone remember, chat? Well over a year. I think right around a year and a half to 2 years when that story broke. Now there have been reports of, well, one of the biggest circumstantial evidence pieces of circumstantial evidence, and Josh pointed this out. I'm totally ripping him off. All credit to Josh. Is that right around the same time we started getting reports of Marvel making a lot of internal adjustments and shifts. One of the biggest ones, obviously, from King to Doom. But that overall, Marvel is shifting much more towards its, frankly and realistically, predominantly male demographic. And there are reasons for that, and it is not. Let me repeat, not 100% down to the Chuds. They did have an influence, but it's not 100% down to the Chuds. You know who the shift back is really to blame? You want to know who's really to blame for that? You want to know? I'll tell you. It is. I wonder if I can find that graphic. It is. I can't remember who posted it, but I saw it. Oops. Not what I want to do. You know who's at fault for this shift back? Not the Chuds. It is all the people that wanted, or at least said they wanted, a lot more representation, a lot more progressive stuff in the movies, but then didn't fucking show up at the theater. They didn't fucking show up in streaming views. Here. Marvel Studio. Yeah. Where is it? Okay, let me. Demographic down of people who attended Marvel movies. Where is it? Nope, that's not what I want either. Wish I could remember where I saw that. Someone had a nice little thing that had it broken down, but I can't fucking find it. It's aggravating me. I'm tired of seeing that same shit. I'm not getting into any of these fucking debates. Anyway, even though I could shred some of these motherfuckers. You know what? Let me try it. Just give me a second, chat. I have proof, or I saw proof. I'm not talking about the movie The Marvels. I'm talking about Marvel itself, goddammit. Someone just give me some goddamn numbers. This pisses me off. Okay. Are you gonna put this shit behind a paywall too, bitch? What are we doing here? Oh, we're just not gonna up there. Give me a. I don't know. Okay. What the fuck? Get out of here. I don't even know what that was. Okay. I really want to go to Reddit, but that's in 2021. God damn it. Anyway, all right. So let me see if I can remember the fucking numbers instead of sitting here mouth breathing trying to find this fucking shit. Okay. Anywho, what up, Kevin? So let me. These are approximations, but let's take the movie The Marvels for example. The male to female audience demographic. And remember, this is a movie definitely skewed towards the female fan base. It was still like 63% of the audience for that movie was male. There's a couple other examples. But anyway, basically, if I could find a fucking graph, the attendance of pretty much every Marvel movie, even the ones that were purposefully skewed towards females to try and expand their audience in that direction, which as a general idea, there's absolutely nothing wrong with. Matter of fact, that's the goal of any entertainment company, is to bring in the largest audience they possibly can, expanding their fan base. That's like the main goal of any entertainment company, right? That's just good business, is expanding your fan base. But again, like, it's still 2/3 dudes to 1/3 females that are showing up for these movies. I mean, if you are a fan of of a certain type of content and in a franchise, and you want that franchise to make more of that content that you specifically want to see, you got to take your ass to the theater and you got to turn the motherfucking show on. And neither of those happened. So what do you expect a business to do if you don't fucking show up for the shit you ask for? I mean, that's just fucking logic. Right? That's just common sense. If you want to see a certain type of product from a company and you're very vocal about it, but then don't go get the damn product when the company tries to give it to you, what the fuck do you expect that company to do? Like, no, Blue Beetle, DC's Blue Beetle. You remember that when that movie came out? There was a large celebration, at least online, that Hispanic people were getting a superhero movie, with a Latino character in the lead, and with a Latino centric movie, basically, in terms of the main character and his family, right? And that was widely celebrated online by not only Latinos, but people who in general just want to see a greater representation of non-white males in superhero movies and basically movies, period, right? Turns out that not a lot of people went to see that movie. Y'all familiar with John Roca? Hot Mike, various other shows he does. Y'all familiar with John Roca? He's Latino. He even went off on his own community about that. I can't remember which of his shows it was. It was either the Hot Mic or maybe Geek Buddies. I don't remember exactly, but even he was like, y'all made so much noise. Paraphrasing. My community made so much noise online and we're rejoicing so hard about this Blue Beetle movie, and then they fucking didn't go see it and it bombed. Like that, I mean, y'all know me. I'm fairly progressive. I like seeing, good representation of like everybody in a movie. But you got to do it right, which Disney has yet to do. They didn't do it organically, and they ended up, again, damaging the communities they were trying to help. Okay, so number one, they didn't do it right. Number two, the people that were clamoring for this type of product didn't fucking go to the theater. They did not fucking turn on the shows. Like, just making a shit ton of noise online can accomplish certain things, but if you really want a certain something from a company and they try and give it to you, you better go buy that shit if you want more. That's just facts. That's just how business works. If you make enough noise for a company to be like, okay, fine, we will try this shit. We will give you, those of you who are making the most noise, we will give you what you want. But then if all those people don't show up with their wallets in whatever fashion it is, whatever they say they want to be spending their money on, and then they just fucking don't, I don't know what to tell you. Any of you. Show the fuck up or lose out. It's just that simple. and no one showed up for the Marvels. Lowest grossing MCU movie in history. One of the biggest bombs in the entirety of Hollywood's history. A lot of people said they want it. Didn't go to the fucking theater. Didn't watch the Disney Plus shows. I don't know what people expect from a business when they don't give the business money when the business gives them what they want or what they say they want. Am I making any kind of sense here? Is there anything wrong with what I'm saying? Is this not just pure logic? You know, so it's not the rage bait grifter anti woke pieces of shit fault that things are shifting in Hollywood. It's not completely It's not completely on the chuds. It's not completely on the current administration and the pressure they're putting on Hollywood. The biggest thing that contributes to a business's decision making has been, and always will be, are we making money off this shit? Are people buying our product? And if the answer is no, guess what happens? Whoops. Bye product. That's all there is to it. I need a new beverage. I'll be right back. So all these people can get all up in their feelings all they want. Like, feel how you want to feel. That's fine. It's all valid. You want to be upset with Marvel for shifting back towards, appeasing the predominant numbers in their audience. You can do that. Totally valid. Feel how you want to feel. But if you're using your logical brain parts and not your emotive brain parts, you'll realize that the reason you're not getting this kind of stuff anymore is because you didn't show the fuck up and let the company know that they should keep making it. Period. End of story. That's all there is to that shit. So, setting that fun aspect to this announcement to the side. Well, actually, you know what? Let's not set that to the side. What do you think of the presentation? What do you think of the cast? There are no surprises there. Again, maybe, a couple little hints of something based on the names they put on there that you could read into if you so chose. God damn it, I got up and put the can in the empty can as receptacle, and I did not grab another drink. I'll be right back. Sorry, don't leave. We're going to go with water this time. Gotta alternate. I'm getting old and I need to keep the mail moving. You know what I mean? Cold water with flavor. I don't drink plain water much. What do you guys think, chat? Do you guys have any issues with the demographics of the cast? Even though we all know for damn sure this is not the full cast. What do you think of the presentation? What do you think about some slight differences in how the characters were appellated? And what do you think about the demographics and how people feel about them? problem. Okay. Get on him up. How about it, chat? Actually, you know what? You think about it if you want to let me know any further thoughts on that. I am going to take a quick tinkle. This should be the last time I step away from my chair, unless we're here for damn ever more, which I don't mind, and I need another drink. You still hate the Starko's early Victor Von Doom theory? Well, that totally valid. You don't have to like that theory. The only problem is that one makes a lot more sense than Doom being a Stark variant. It takes a whole lot less mental gymnastics. That's all I'm saying. So, I shall return shortly. Please don't leave, because when I come back, that's it for Marvel. We're getting in all, and there's more than just the ScarJo story. There's a few fun DC things to talk about. So I'll be back shortly. Enjoy some music. Yeah. I'm a Stark Iron Man fan as well. I love RDJ as Iron Man. But if they want to do multiversal shenanigans and make him a Doom variant, I'm fine with that too, because I like when movies do deal with philosophical debates / arguments / thoughts in a dope ass way. And one of the oldest philosophical debates that exists is the nature versus nurture debate. Why do certain people born into certain families grow up a certain way, or why do they seem to deviate from what the general trends are in their family? For example, someone who is born with some sort of social emotional disorder, even people that could be borderline psychopaths. Why do some people who are born with a propensity to violence grow up to be fairly peaceful people, even though they come from a long line of violent people? Why do some become violent and some don't? Is the reason someone who comes from a line of violent people being violent because of their genetics, or is it because they were raised like garbage And the reverse is a good question. Why, if someone comes from a long line of violent people and they grow up to be peaceful people, is that, did they get recessive genes, or was the way they were raised a lot better than the way someone else who ended up violent was raised? That kind of thing. So in this case, is the nature of Tony Stark as we knew him in the Infinity Saga, did he not succumb to his actual doom genetics because of Howard Stark? Because he was raised by the Starks? Is it nurture? Did nurture overtake the nature of being born Victor Von Doom, who we all know is a narcissistic, megalomaniacal egomaniac? Who knows? But nature versus nurture is a fun debate. And it's even more fun when employed in a dope-ass way in movies or books or what have you. Some form of media. Yeah. Oh, one of the other flip sides. Why would someone who is raised to be peaceful in a peaceful family with no real history or whatever that they're aware of end up violent? Is that an argument in favor of nature over nurture? It's a fun thing. It's a fun thing to dive into, especially if you can do it in a dope ass way. That's all I'm saying. All right. Oh shit! I always forget to turn the damn music down when I come back. Okay, chat. We are now going to delve into the world of DC. And we will begin with the parent studio of DC. And we have Warner Brothers sale news to go over. That's right. That impacts things. Shit. Did I leave that in my replies and not bookmark it? God damn it. Arrgh. Okay. No, I fucking posted about it. I don't remember if it was today or yesterday. Alright, I saw these people I'm debating about the fucking squirrel lantern. Idiots. Where are you tonight? You met another. Oh, by the way, the first trailer for the final season of The Boys drops Saturday. Probably at CCXP or something. For any Boys fans out there. When you get annoyed with yourself. Oh. Yeah. was looking for a second. Goddamn ADD. That one. Ah. Okay. Okay. Oh, cool. All right. So, in terms of the WB Warner Brothers sale and what would happen, depending on who buys it, we begin with the fact that at the beginning of the week, I believe it was Monday or Tuesday at the latest, round 2 of bids were due for Warner Brothers. And it was reported that after receiving the bids, Warner Brothers started engaging in talks with Netflix. Now, between round 1 of the bids and round 2 of the bids, it was reported that once round 2 of the bids came in, Warner Brothers could engage in extensive talks with whoever bids the most. And after that, it was reported that Warner Brothers has been engaging in talks with Netflix. And according to this, Netflix's new bid is mostly a cash offer, and they are arranging a mega loan to be able to buy Warner Brothers. Now, here's the thing. Netflix only wants the movie studio and HBO Max content. They do not want the linear channels, the TV, the regular TV channels, and the cable networks. They don't want any of that shit. They just want the movie studio content and the HBO Max content, and that is all they want. Meanwhile, Paramount, their offer is for the whole kit and caboodle. They want it all. Linear network, studio, HBO Max, all of it. But since Warner Brothers is talking with Netflix right now, it seems like Netflix has the current biggest bid. Okay? Now, why is that significant? Well, one of the main reasons that's significant is because a publicly owned company's board has what's called a fiduciary responsibility to the stockholders. And when it comes to that in terms of a sale, that means the board is responsible to accept the highest offer, no matter who it may come from. So, like, if internally Warner Brothers would rather sell to Paramount than Netflix, but Netflix comes in with the biggest, best offer, they are legally obligated, again, in terms of fiduciary responsibility, to take the highest offer, whether they want it to be from Netflix or not. Okay? So that's item number 1. If they're engaging in talks with Netflix, that probably means that Netflix has the biggest bid in there, which puts them in the lead. Okay? So that's one thing. Now, another thing on the business side that came out, and this is very interesting. Check this shit out. Not sure exactly where this comes from, but It appears that early planning is already in place when and if, because right now it just got that if got a lot bigger with what appears to be happening in concerning Netflix. The Ellisons lock up Warner Brothers Discovery. According to a knowledgeable source, Paramount has been crushing lately on writer-director Zach Kreger, red hot after August's Weapons grossed $268 million worldwide on a budget of about $40 million. Josh Greenstein, the co-chair of Paramount Pictures, recently trekked to Prague, that's in Czechoslovakia, by the way, if you didn't know, to court Kreger, who is trying to concentrate on his Resident Evil reboot for Sony. That's going to be interesting. A Zach Kreger reboot of Resident Evil. I'm told Kreger discussed with Greenstein his desire to write and direct a movie set in a particular corner of the DC universe. Which character or characters are involved is unclear. And Greenstein said he would be more than happy to make that happen if possible. As things now stand at Warner Brothers, James Gunn and Peter Safran control who directs DC movies, choices they make after they have developed scripts to their liking. It sounds like change may be in the wind if, indeed, the Ellisons prevail. Paramount declined to comment, of course. So, some people, including Papa Josh, have opined that if Paramount gets this, they probably will not do any super massive changes when it comes to the DCU. There's a fair chunk of people who think that they will keep Gunn on, that they do not want to start over again so soon after DC just fucking started over again. There are concerns that would alienate the fan base even more than it already is. Especially with the war going on between Snyder Bros and Gun Glazers. So there's a lot of people thinking that, if Paramount does get Warner Brothers, that they would probably leave Gunn in place to let him do his thing, at least for a little while longer. Okay? Now, according to this, they might leave Gunn in charge, but they also might issue directives from above, and they could very well be like, "Yo, James, welcome to the Paramount family. You heard of Zach Kreger? You heard of the movie Weapons? Well, Zach wants to write and direct a DC movie, and you're going to let him. Have a nice day." So they could keep him around. They could let him do his thing, but they could also dictate to him things that they want to happen. As an example, right here, Zach Kreger wants to write and direct a DC movie. Don't know about what. Just says set in a particular corner of the DC universe. Now, Zach Kreger, again, he's doing Resident Evil, which is basically a horror franchise. He just did Weapons, which is a horror movie. So I would imagine he's going to delve into like the supernatural, creepy side of DC. Ooh. Chat. What if he wants to do a Constantine movie? What if he decides he wants to call up Keanu? Well, assuming Paramount does get WB, and they're like, "Yo, Zach Kreger, come on down. We will let you do your movie." What if Zach Kreger wants to hook up with Keanu and actually do a badass, dark, super dark fucking Constantine movie? How fucking sick would that be? Was Weapons the one with the kids? Yes. Yes, it was. What would you got? I mean, this is pure speculation, pure guess, quick moment of inspiration. But I'll tell you what, if there's a DC movie that I would love to see Zach Kreger write and direct, it would be him teaming up with Keanu for a dope-ass, super dark Constantine movie. Yeah, the first Constantine movie is pretty good. That is something I would like to see Zach Cregger do. I don't know the creepy side of DC very well. I would have to research, but creepy almost a lot of the times equals supernatural. And if most people, when you think supernatural side of DC, a lot of people go right to fucking Constantine. I would fucking love a Zach Cregger Constantine movie. That would be dope. And again, the pure guess, pure speculation, right? So, but yeah, so it looks like while Paramount might not necessarily can Gunn and Safran, it looks like it would appear that they are more than willing to force him to put in shit that he wasn't necessarily planning on putting in, making movies he wasn't necessarily planning on making, and having them directed by people he wouldn't necessarily hire to direct said movie. Now, as we have seen with Disney and Marvel and Star Wars, edicts from the top are not always the best thing, right, Bob? Or I should say Bob's, Iger, and Chapek. Y'all getting into shit and telling studios how they're going to do shit, when they're going to do shit, does not always work out that well. See the Multiverse Saga and Star Wars in general, right? Plenty of examples of how that's a bad fucking idea. So, leaving Gunn and Safran in place, but yet popping in and dictating some shit to them could very easily backfire. Now, but this specific idea about having Zach Cregger come in and do his DC movie, probably not a bad idea. But that's just something they, at least in my opinion, they should really stay away from doing as much as possible. Again, because there's plenty of evidence at Disney that more often than not is a horrible fucking idea. But setting potential consequences aside, I do find it super interesting that they, at a minimum, even if they don't fire Gunn and Safran, are more than happy to dictate to him that, you will make this project with this director. You don't have to like it. You just got to fucking do it. It's entirely possible that something like that, well, it was already somewhat possible that could happen, but now, according to this at least, it looks likely that it will happen. Okay? How do you guys feel about that? How do you guys feel about the potential of if Paramount ends up buying Warner Brothers, that while they may keep Gunn and Safran on, they are definitely willing to dictate shit to them? How do you guys feel about that? Personally, this guy, it would be a case-by-case basis. In this example, Zach Cregger coming in to do a DC movie, okay, force James Gunn to do that shit. I'm fine with that. But their next idea could be complete ass, and they really shouldn't do it. So, going forward, again, assuming they do get Warner Brothers, we'll see how that would go. But I want to know what you guys think. Good idea, bad idea, like me, case by case evaluation, project by project evaluation. What do you guys think? And then we got a little bit more about Paramount. Let me know. Share with me your thoughts and opinions and feelings, chat. I mean, yeah, I too would like to see more supernatural stuff from DC. I want to see more supernatural stuff from fucking Marvel. I mean, the reports are that it's coming. But I want to fucking see it. Like, show it to me. Put it on the fucking screen. What say you, chat? How dost thou feel about this possibility? All right. Brooke and Brennan are down. Nice. Anybody else before we delve into the next aspect of this this here business news about the sale? Any more thoughts? Werewolf by Night was pretty good. You know, I still haven't gotten around to watching that yet. I need to. I've heard a lot of most of the opinions on that were that it was good. So it's not that long. Maybe I'll watch it after stream. It's only like an hour ish, right? Something like that. Hour and a half max. What's the runtime on Werewolf by Night, chat? Someone help me out with that. Damn it. I did not want to do that. Excuse me. All right. While one of you is kindly looking up the runtime for Werewolf by Night, we 54 minutes. Thank you, Brooke. Okay. I might check it out afterwards. Probably not though. I'll be honest. Probably won't do it tonight. But I do need to sooner rather than later, for sure. All right. So the next fun little aspect of the story, and this is something we actually did talk about a while back because I believe CNBC reported some of this info, but this comes from the New York Post yesterday. Paramount Skydance has a plan B if Netflix wins auction for Warner Brothers Discovery. Sources. If Warner Brothers Discovery is leaning towards Netflix's offer in the high-stakes race for the company's assets, rival bidder Paramount Skydance has a plan B to win the auction on the money as learned. Netflix has made a majority cash offer to purchase the Warner Brothers studio and HBO Max, while Paramount Skydance has made an all-cash bid for the whole company, including cable channels CNN and HBO, the sources said. Warner Brothers Discovery could pick a winning bidder as early as this week. Wow. Now, CNBC had said it would be done by, the winner would be chosen by Christmas. Some people are saying it could be this week. I'm going to go ahead and say, in my opinion, I doubt it'll be this week, but that'd be crazy if it was. People close to the process tell the Post. A source close to Warner Brothers Discovery said the media giant believes this is now a horse race between Paramount, Skydance, and Netflix, whose outcome is a toss-up, giving it 50-50 odds. So this source thinks NBC Universal Comcast is out of the running. Because remember, they're in this shit too. It was Paramount, Netflix, and Universal. And when rumors of the sale first started rumbling, like way back in the day, because I remember making a video about this, like right when I first started, about Universal possibly being the one to buy Warner Brothers. Oh yeah, here it is. Wait, wow, damn, 3 years ago. Like that was my 1, 2, 4, 8, 12. Sorry. Literally my 9th video I ever did. I'd been averaging 10 to 20 views on it. This one popped off for 273 views. Comcast wants Warner Discovery. So 3 years ago, chat. 3 fucking years ago, this was already being talked about. And back then, Universal Comcast were the ones first being talked about it. What up, Spicy Dan? So, but now, according to this source that has been talking to the New York Post, they're not even mentioning Universal. According to them, it's a horse race between Paramount and Netflix. And they're giving it 50-50 odds, approximately. Still, Speculation is growing that Warner Brothers Discovery has come to prefer Netflix's bid. Insiders note that Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos and Warner Brothers chief David Zaslav are said to be close. Netflix is also seen by the Warner Brothers board, now we're on the board, as a better steward of Warner Brothers assets as opposed to David and Larry Ellison, who are relative newcomers to major media, according to a source. But if the board chooses Netflix, and the Ellisons are developing a game plan that involves going over the head of the board and directly telling Warner shareholders, similar to a house bid for the company, according to people with direct knowledge of the matter. Okay? Now, I don't know if you guys recall, but there's a story on CNBC that talked about this this exact scenario, except they just described it at that time as the Warner Brothers board deciding not to sell. But the plan from Paramount was the same. Basically, it boils down to, as far as Paramount's concerned, if they don't win, they're going to bypass the board and go right to the shareholders in basically a hostile takeover kind of thing. Now, their pitch, again, this is the Ellisons / Paramount, their pitch, the Netflix deal is doomed to fail, facing rejection by President Trump's antitrust cops at the Department of Justice, and have litigated a loss in federal courts. Now, this is something we've also been talking about for a while because the Ellisons and the Trump administration, and Trump are super tight. The fact that everyone that works for Trump, no matter what department, is basically a fucking sock puppet, and they will do exactly what he wants, and Trump loves the Ellisons. So even if they get through the antitrust, so if they get rejected by the antitrust or the DOJ, I'm talking about Paramount or Netflix, even if they somehow get past the DOJ, if they get, well, let me start over again. If Netflix gets rejected by antitrust stuff, they could sue. Okay? They could sue Warner Brothers for that. Especially, again, if they make the bigger offer, and we go back to the legal responsibility, the legal fiduciary responsibility that companies are required to do, i.e., they're required for the shareholders to take the biggest offer, no matter who it comes from. An example of that. Do y'all remember when Musk offered $40 billion for Twitter and then tried to back out and Twitter sued him to force the buy? That was because Musk's offer was the biggest and Twitter was legally, fiscally responsible to get that money for the shareholders. That's why they sued Musk to force him to buy, because he gave him the biggest offer, and it's their responsibility to not only take, but make sure they get the biggest offer one way or another. So they sued Musk, and they got their $40 billion. Now, so far as Netflix is concerned, and again, this is assuming that Trump and Ellisons are close enough for Trump to put his thumb on the scale, which we already know he's willing to do, because he is forcing Warner Brothers he's forcing Rush Hour 4 to be made and directed by Brett Ratner, who is until now was in director jail because he was a freak and did some SA kind of stuff repeatedly. But now he's back because he's tight with Trump, because he did the documentary about Melania and therefore ingratiated himself in with Trump and got to be friends with Trump. And so now Trump is pimping for him to be the one to do Rush Hour 4. And it looks like that's going to happen. Oh, and by the way, side note, it's been reported that, I don't know if this is like going to happen, but it looks like Rush Hour 4 is going to get $100 million plus budget, which is fucking stupid, especially when you consider Gareth Edwards made The Creator, which is setting the acting aside, a lot more visually stunning than Rush Hour 4 could ever be, and he did that shit for 80. Like, he's so good at getting visuals, at getting amazing visuals for much lower cost than most others, that Feige literally called him up and be like, bruh, how the fuck do you do that? But yet, somehow, Ratner is getting 100 million, possibly 100 million plus to do fucking Rush Hour 4. If anyone can make that make sense to me, I'd love to hear it, but I don't think you can. Matter of fact, I guarantee you fucking can. Good luck, though. But yeah, so yeah, Paramount, if Warner Brothers picks Netflix, will go to the shareholders and convince them that there's no way Netflix is going to get past the Trump administration. And once they will probably get rejected by the DOJ for antitrust things. Then they will sue, and it'll work its way through the courts. And if it somehow makes it past all the appeals courts with judges that were appointed by Trump, it always will end up at the Supreme Court, which holds a 6-3 conservative majority, and therefore Netflix will still be fucked. Now, we have talked about this before. We weren't naming Netflix specifically, but I have said almost this exact same thing. It's probably going to be Paramount because anyone else is going to lose somewhere along the way. And that's exactly the pitch that the Ellisons are going to make to the shareholders if Warner Brothers chooses Netflix. Okay? You following me? You still with me? Still picking up what I'm putting down? All right, we're going to move on with the article. Likewise, the Ellisons will argue that theirs is the only deal that will glide through the regulatory process and that shareholders will be paid immediately for the entire company. Now, setting aside all the regulatory bullshit that this deal is going to have to go through, that's one of the best arguments you can make to the shareholders. The shareholders will be paid immediately, and it'll be for the entire company. They won't have to worry about a split and finding a separate buyer for the cable shit and the linear shit. Because Paramount going to buy it all. Netflix is not. So even if they choose Netflix and get Netflix's money, they are still going to have to figure out what the fuck they're going to do with their cable channels and all that shit. If Netflix buys. If Paramount buys, they don't have to worry about any of it. Paramount wants it all. So, even if Netflix pitches a majority cash bid of close to $30 a share, as they suspect, which is the price which is the price Daddy's Ass wants, a price well above the Ellison's current offer of around $25 a share. Shareholders need to haircut the offer given the time value of money. During a legal process that could last more than 2 years, its assets will deteriorate as the fate of the company remains in limbo. Yeah, that's another thing. Some people who argue that it won't be Paramount necessarily like to point out that because Paramount is kind of lowballing Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers stock has taken a significant jump since news of the sale first came out. They're seeing that as proof that it won't necessarily be Paramount. But here's the thing. If rumors of a sale, or the fact now that the sale is looking like it's going to happen, are the reason the stock prices jump, what do you think that is going to happen to the stock prices if the sale ends up not happening for whatever reason? If the cause of the jump is the sale happening, what do you think is going to happen to the stock if the sale then doesn't? That's what's going to happen. It's going to fall off a fucking cliff. So, based on my conversations, the Ellisons aren't going away quietly and are making contingency plans if they lose, said one senior media executive who has had conversations with people at Paramount Skydance. A spokeswoman for Paramount Skydance had no comment. A Warner Brothers rep also declined comment, as did Netflix. As the Post reported, I missed that report, senior White House officials recently met to discuss concerns about the Netflix combo. Combining two similar so-called horizontal assets, Netflix's number 1 streaming service with Warner's number 3 service. Yes, HBO Max is the number 3 streamer. HBO Max almost always leads to an adverse outcome on antitrust grounds. Also discussed, a Netflix Warner Brothers combo would face serious opposition from European regulators, a government official at the confab said. Paramount Skydance, meanwhile, will argue that its only overlap is the combining of Warner Studio with Paramount's, which, given the proliferation of production venues, doesn't meet monopoly status. Trump regulatory officials are less concerned about the antitrust implications of combining studios, as Paramount Skydance is planning, as well as another bid by media giant Comcast, sources with direct knowledge of the matter say. Okay, so basically, the current regulatory officials under the current administration don't see a problem with Universal and Paramount merging, or Warner Brothers and Paramount merging, because there's enough separate stuff amongst them to not violate antitrust, at least in their mind. Interesting. People familiar with the Ellisons' thinking say they are also prepared to wait for the inevitable loss in court. That's referencing Netflix suing suing based on the assumed rejection of the bid by the DOJ, swooping in at some later date with an offer that isn't subject to a bidding war. Interesting. It's unclear where Comcast, the media conglomerate headed by Brian Roberts, stands in the bidding. Like Netflix and Skydance, it has submitted a second-round offer, though its balance sheet is such that it will have to borrow to keep pace with other suitors who are offering $25 a share or more, Warner Brothers. A deal price that could reach $70 billion. Roberts also has a strained relationship with Trump, who has made no secret of his disdain for him and Comcast's MAGA-hating MSNBC subsidiary. Even bankers working for Comcast concede Roberts is the dark horse in the buyout drama. The Comcast spokesman had no comment. Okay. So, chat, some old news. Again, we already knew that Paramount is considering a hostile takeover if, for whatever reason, they do not get the company. I found it interesting that they are also prepared to chill out on the sidelines and wait for what they assume will be Netflix's failure in courts, and then they can just be like, hey, Zaslav, you ready for that $23 to $25 a share now, buddy? You ready? So, interesting things. So, again, to sum up, Paramount is more than willing to attempt a hostile takeover, or barring that, wait for what they presume will be Netflix's failure to get through the various departments of the current administration, and then come in with an offer. Yeah. So very, very interesting. Basically, Netflix currently appears to be in the lead. Paramount don't give a fuck. They'll try a hostile takeover, or they'll wait for, again, what they assume will be Netflix's failure to battle the administration to get the sale through. And then they'll be like, you want this now? And that'll be it. What do you guys think about that? Oh, this is funny. We're doing little stock tracker doodads here. Netflix's stock is going down. Paramount's is going down. Warner Brothers is going up. That's funny. What do you guys think, though? Basically, what this article is saying is that it at least so far as Paramount is concerned, and by the way, kind of myself too, that even if Netflix ends up with the biggest offer, they're going to get stymied in some fashion or another by this administration or the people they put in power, and it's going to go to Paramount anyway. and also that Paramount might not necessarily get rid of James Gunn, but they are willing to be like, you're doing a decent job and all, but you're going to make this with this person. So I find all this shit interesting. What do you guys think, chat? That post has been deleted. Good, because they linked the wrong fucking article anyway. What do you think, chat? Paramount will keep Gunn around if the deal goes through, but likely not let him have as much creative freedom. Yeah, I can definitely see that. And when it comes to a lot of his sensibilities, I'm totally fucking fine with that too. Like, keep that motherfucker reined in. Otherwise, we'll end up with fucking the DC version of Love and Thunder. All right, chat. Next item. We're going to talk a little Supergirl. We are going to talk a little Supergirl. And we'll start with kind of the businessy end kind of thing. C-Dub. Long ass day, finally off work for the next 4 days. Yeah, tomorrow's your birthday, right? Happy early birthday to C-Dub, chat. Show C-Dub some birthday love, please. Show C-Dub some early birthday love. Although in my time zone, it'll be his birthday in 21 minutes. Oh, wrong kind of cake. That's pancake. $46? All right. Well, you're still 4 years younger than me, motherfucker. Respect your goddamn elders. Oh, shit. You're seeing chillins and chillins and chillins. Don't do it, motherfucker. Got a nice extra anejo sipping on, setting my fantasy lineup. Oh, there you go. Who do you got in tomorrow night's game? And if you say the Cowboys, you're banned. Just kidding. Seriously, who you got tomorrow night? Cowboys or my Lions? I'm going to be real. I'm scared. I'm a little scared of that game. Lions have been playing like shit. Cowboys have been playing really good. Although, Cowboys on the road are nowhere near as good as the Cowboys at home, and this game is in Detroit. So, you got crab cakes? You motherfucker. Yeah, happy early birthday, C-Dub. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. All right. So, we're going to talk a little Supergirl. First, we're going to talk numbers. According to Forbes, even though it's not in this particular linked article, but I've seen all kinds of people referencing the article where it says this, but I couldn't fucking find it, so we're just going to go off this post. Cosmo Kramer, Trump 2028. You are aware that he's constitutionally incapable of running again, right? Actually, never mind. You probably wouldn't be aware of that. Shilling in the basement. Who exactly am I shilling for currently? I'd love to know. Who exactly am I shilling for? Oh, and by the way, you guys probably have maybe 3 or 4 comments each before I fucking boot you. So get your lame ass insults in. Just, realize your time is limited. Or you can just leave on your own. Brooke, we're probably going to get some stuff like that at CCXP. DC is going to be there. Supergirl's going to be there. It smells like cat piss. Well, clean the fucking litter boxes then, moron. Donald Trump will pee-pee and poo-poo on you. Well, yeah, but he's got to get his diaper off first. Did you hear a Seinfeld reference? I'm not sure. I didn't watch that show. I couldn't stand that fucking show. The Lions are due and the cow bitches are due for a loss. As long as Lamb drops 20 plus, but they lose, that's your ideal. Oh, you guys CD Lamb as one of your receivers, huh? It's actually not a bad pick, though. Poster with Lobo would be dope. Definitely. They definitely need to give us a first look at that. Trump 2028. Oh, so you're another dumb motherfucker who doesn't know the Constitution. Okay, cool. Word on the streets at the Executive Judge. Word on the streets at the Doomsday trailers. Yes, I actually talked about that towards the beginning of the stream. Yeah, according to Beyond Reporter, it'll drop. It'll be a wide drop on the 11th. I don't hate it. I just didn't like it much. Trump 2028 again? Okay. Well, the Constitution. Well, supposedly you guys are America first and believe in the Constitution, but you're totally fine with that orange-faced buffoon violating it, which is a perfect example of how stupid all you motherfuckers are. And since you can't come up with anything interesting to say, which again is not surprising because you motherfuckers know like 3 phrases, period. Bye. Why do I love Rey Skywalker? Motherfucker, you obviously don't pay attention. I don't love Rey Skywalker. And just for being that stupid, I'm only giving you one account. Or one comment. Bye. Who here has nabbed tickets for the Stranger Things finale? Not I. Because I haven't watched any of them. Oh, yeah. But yeah, who was it? Brooke brought up Lobo. Yeah, for the marketing of this movie, I mean, obviously, Supergirl, the title character, so they need to market her heavy. But Momoa's a motherfucking star, so they need to market him only slightly less than they market Supergirl herself. But they're already not making a second season of Skeleton Crew, you boob. And an executive order of what you're talking about would be worth the toilet paper I use to wipe my ass with. Trump can find a way around the Constitution. Well, that would be completely antithetical to what he supposedly believes in. But of course, anyone who pays attention knows he's completely full of shit 100% of the time. James Gunn is overrated. That I actually agree with. This idiocy can go. My son Jacob is an unemployed loser who lives in the broom closet under my stairs. He's been wearing yoga pants lately. Well, I guess you should have raised him better then. That's on you, parent. But, you know, good job making yourself look like a complete dumbass. Not that it's surprising, considering who you're rolling in here with. And I'm honored, though, that you guys are popping into my chat to try and troll me regularly and giving me engagement, making YouTube notice me more. All that kind of fun stuff. I appreciate you guys for that. But other than that, fuck off. Anyway. But yeah, they need to market Momoa almost as hard as they market Millie Alcock herself. Anyway. Like I was saying, this is not the right Forbes article. I couldn't find the actual Forbes article that talked about this, but like everyone is talking about the Forbes article that mentioned this, so I'm assuming this is true, that Forbes said this. Okay? So according to Forbes, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow carries, global box office, probably you use the whopping But Woman of Tomorrow had a production budget of $200 million. Dr. Mafia, cope harder, buddy. What the? Dude, if you're going to come in here telling me to cope harder, you need to actually include a proper description sentence. You know, if you heard a subject, like what I'd be coping about. So since you're also a fucking idiot, bye-bye. He can't run in 2032 either, dumbass. You get 2 terms and you're done. And you're a dumbass, so goodbye. Raise the IQ in my chat by leaving. See ya. Thoughts on Kamala? Harris or Khan? So the movie, let's see, $200 million budget, so the movie will need $500 million plus to break even. That's true. Because the accepted formula is 2.5 times the production budget, so means, well, not plus. It'll need $500 million to break even. Feels like bots. Well, anti-woke, grifting Knights of Melvin bitch-ass snowflakes do come across as bots because they literally have 5 thoughts. Actually, YouTube and Twitter bots are probably smarter than these motherfuckers, actually. So, you've never been in my basement, dumbass. You're probably smelling your own. In which case, clean the litter box and cook meth in a separate building before you blow your house up. If I put you in timeout, you win? Only a dumbass would think that. And if I put you in timeout, I win because I don't have to deal with your dumbass until my next stream when you come back. I'm only timing you out for 24 hours. So you can always come back and try and troll. And then I'll shit on you for being morons, and then I'll do this again. See ya. All right. So yeah, $200 million. Now, of course, James Gunn, when did trolls start infecting the chat? I don't know, but they're giving me engagement. So I'll let them give me engagement for a couple minutes, and then I'll time them out, and we'll move on. So, of course, Gunn, doing what Gunn always does, comes out. Someone specifically brought this up to him, and of course he said, it's not even a little bit true. But this is Gunn, who has debunked a lot of stuff, which ended up being true. So in a decision between who I will believe, between Forbes magazine and James Gunn, I'm going with Forbes magazine because they're not a studio. They're not a studio executive. They have no reason to try and fudge the numbers to make the studios look good, unlike Warner Brothers, DC, and James Gunn. Would I take Obama for a 3rd term? If it was legal? Sure. But as I've repeatedly said, it's not legal. So bye. Most theaters in your area are already sold out for the Stranger Things finale. God damn. That doesn't, believe it or not, that doesn't really surprise me. Honestly, that show is fucking massive. You didn't like it, sub, but I did vote for Trump. Well, that just shows how stupid you are. So yeah. So $200 million budget, needs $500 million just to break even. Gunn, of course, said that wasn't true, but Gunn says a lot of shit ain't true. So here's the question, chat. Here's the burning question. Will Supergirl, I don't know why they're calling it Woman of Tomorrow, that's been dropped from the title for months now. Will Supergirl make $500 million, chat? What do you think? You think Supergirl can make $500 million? Supergirl will be worse than Superman? That is actually possible. Some would even say probable. that it will do worse. I think it's actually somewhat more likely. I think it is actually more likely than not that it does not make as much as Superman. Did I vote for Kamala? Well, yeah. Look at my other option. Brooke says, I think 400 milli is feasible, but 500 mil is a bit of a stretch for Superman. I'm inclined to agree with that. Although, here's the kicker to that whole thing. On paper, it definitely looks like Supergirl is going to be struggle bussing just to break even. But there is one way that it could possibly do that. And that'll come down, that'll come down to how they market the movie. Period. How they market the movie and how well the marketing attracts an audience. I mean, you could say that for a lot of movies, obviously, but I think in the case of Supergirl, it's even more important, especially considering today's climate, the fact that Supergirl is a derivative character of Superman. The fact that Superman itself didn't make a whole shit ton of money, although some of that, let's be real, some of that is because that July was fucking packed. Like, I firmly believe that, what's it fucking called? Rebirth, Superman, and Fantastic Four all would have made more money if they all hadn't been crammed into the same month. First of all, what do you guys think about that? You think all of them would have done better if they were not in the same month? Like, for example, every Jurassic World movie prior to Rebirth cracked a billy because they didn't have anywhere near the level of competition that Rebirth did. And Rebirth still cracked 800 million, guys. Think about that. Rebirth still cracked 800 million. Even in that crowded space. Right? So I think Rebirth might have been a $1 billion movie if it came out early, a month previous, early July. I think Superman would probably have cracked 700 million if it wasn't sandwiched between Rebirth and Fantastic Four. Now, it didn't necessarily have to move, right? Superman could have stayed where it was, shove Rebirth back to beginning of June, kick Fantastic Four out to mid to late August, and I think Rebirth makes $1 billion. I think Superman cracks 700, and I think Fantastic Four cracks 600. But they all came out in the same month, and they all made less because of it. Now, going back to Supergirl, let's see. When does it actually? Okay, so Supergirl drops June 26th. Okay. Now, when does Brand New Day? Okay, Brand New Day comes out a month later. So those two really aren't going to be in hard competition because most movies make their money, a vast majority of their money in first 4 weeks. So, and week 4 or maybe even week 5 is when Spider-Man comes out. So Josh was kind of wrong about that when he was talking about Supergirl on stream earlier today. Those two really are not in direct competition. They come out a month apart. So the most damage Brand New Day could do to Supergirl would be to, you couldn't even call it chopping off its legs. Might chop off its toes, but that's about it. All right, so we don't have to worry about direct competition for Marvel so far as Supergirl goes. So that'll help a bit. But, again, somewhat a derivative character. That's just facts. The climate is not friendly currently to female-led movies. Facts. So yeah, it right now it looks like it's going to struggle bus just to break even. But if they market it properly, and when I say market it properly, that means you market Momoa's Lobo only slightly less harder than you market Supergirl herself, then I think it has a chance. Also, again, given that there's a month between it and Brand New Day, then it has a chance to actually break even, if not make a little bit of money. But they're going to have to market it perfectly for that to happen. Okay? So, as far as its budget goes and its chances to break even and make money, that's how I see it. What do you guys think? Stop banning all the Knights of Melvin. My son is one of them. Well, you should have raised your son not to be a dumbass, dipshit, bigoted phobe with a low IQ. Just be a better parent. Think about that while you're timed out. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me on that? Do you disagree with me on that? What say you, chat? And then we'll move on to actually got a little taste of how the beginning of the marketing for Supergirl. Yeah. Nothing much will impact Brand New Day. Oh, no. Yeah, no. I'm not worried about anything impacting Brand New Day's box office. The question was the other direction. How much could Brand New Day affect Supergirl? But they come out a month apart. So probably not much. Again, considering most movies tend to make most of their money inside the first 4 weeks anyway. So Supergirl will have made most of what it's going to make before Brand New Day comes out. So, speaking of the marketing for Supergirl, the Beyond Reporter has found a description of the teaser trailer that will more than likely come out. Am I missing bands? A little bit, yeah. Well, I'm not like perma-banning them. I'm just timing them out for 24 hours so they can come back and be chodes and give me engagement again in my next stream. So, the Beyond Reporter, again, pretty reliable. Not 100%, but pretty reliable. Gave us a description of the teaser trailer, again, which will probably drop at CCXP this weekend. And it is as follows. The teaser opens with a surprisingly grounded and comedic beat. We see Crypto the Superdog casually lifting his leg to pee on a space rock. The camera pans to Kara, Zor-El, Supergirl, who is waking up looking disheveled, groggy, and clearly nursing a massive hangover. Why does that sound like Gunn wrote that part of it? As she tries to gather herself, the iconic sound of Blondie kicks in, shifting the energy instantly. That definitely sounds like a Gunn influence. The trailer explodes into a fast-paced, even though he didn't write the movie, he still runs DC Studios. The trailer explodes into a fast-paced montage of stylized action. We see Kara blasting through cosmic environments, delivering brutal punches to alien threats, and flying with aggressive speed. The vibe is distinct from Superman. It's grittier, louder, and colorful, although Superman is pretty colorful, focusing on a Supergirl who is ready to fight. Except for the beginning part of that stinks of Gunn, that actually kind of sounds to me like a pretty decent trailer. Triggered Ray Boy. Fucktards. I don't like Ray. I don't know why you keep saying that. Never mind, I do, because you're fucktards. Bye-bye, fucktard. Gunn isn't on this film. No, Gunn did not write it. Gunn is not directing it, but Gunn runs DC Studios, and if he wants something in a movie, it will go there. Just like The Lanterns show, which has been repeatedly described as a gritty show, dark, evocative of westerns and or True Detective. Sounds like a super serious show, right? But according to people who saw the teaser trailer, I'm not sure when, they're going to be bringing up a squirrel lantern named Chip. An obscure, goofy-ass character is going to be talked about in a super serious Lanterns show. That make any sense? No, it does not. Except for the fact that Gunn loves goofy, obscure-ass characters. So if there's a goofy, obscure-ass character even mentioned in a super serious show, Occam's razor and logic says Gunn put him in there. So if we go back to the description of this trailer, at least the beginning, Crypto peeing on a space rock, Supergirl waking up with a massive hangover, music from Blondie kicks in. That all stinks of Gunn. Now the rest of it sounds dope as shit. Kara blasting through cosmic environments, punching the fuck out of aliens, flying with aggressive speed, grittier, louder, focusing on Supergirl who's ready to fight. See, the colorful thing, that was also Superman. That's not a distinction between the two. But grittier, louder, and focusing on a very aggressive Supergirl who's ready to fight, that is different. And I like that part. It's just that beginning part that sounds like something Gunn was like, hey, let's put this shit in here. So what do you guys think of the description of that trailer? And of course, we'll find out this weekend if it's accurate. Although I would hope Beyond Reporter's taking a big risk putting it out within a few days of when we're going to find out if he's right or not. You know what I mean? So given the risk, I think this is probably fucking accurate. And I like about 70% of that description. Yep. What do you guys think? Do you think that sounds like a cool trailer? Do you think it sounds like a lame trailer? Do you think it sounds like an okay trailer? What do you guys think? How do you feel about that? Because after this, chat, we are getting into our final subject of the evening. Got some news about the Batman Part 2. So I'll give you just another minute to decide if you have any more thoughts that you want to share in chat about the Supergirl teaser. Sounds like a generic trailer, to be honest. I mean, kind of. We'll see when it drops on the tube. Right, exactly. Any more thoughts? No? That's cool. Because we've been at for 3 hours and we still got to get to the main topic. So let's roll, motherfuckers. Let's roll. You're so scared of falling asleep and missing your Stranger Things showing. Caffeine, bruh. Caffeine and a power nap. Set your alarm. 20 minutes. I speak from experience. When I was a delivery driver and I'd get super damn tired, I'd park and I would take a 20-minute power nap. And I'd get up and I'd continue driving, and I'd be good for at least 2 to 3 more hours after that. And I did some more research, and a 20-minute power nap is actually a thing that works. Just keep that in mind. All right. Final subject, chat. News about the Batman Part 2. We're going to start with the smaller bit of news. According to Variety, Zoe Kravitz is not expected to return as Catwoman in the Batman Part 2. Now, if you recall, we talked about this a while ago. And do you know why we talked about this a while ago? It is because Jeff Snyder talked about this back in August, which is when we talked about it, right? So what Jeff reported on the hot mic back in August, looks like around August 18th, is that a friend of Jeff's on a press junket for Caught Stealing with Zoe Kravitz and Austin Butler and Matt Smith. The members of the press in the junket were told not to ask Zoe Kravitz about the Batman 2 because she's not in it and she doesn't know anything. This is what Rocha broke on the hot mic 3.5 fucking months ago. And now just today, it was confirmed by Variety. So, kind of news, not really news, because Snyder had it 3.5 months ago, but it has now been confirmed by a trade. So, I think we can safely say, unfortunately, that Zoe Kravitz will not be reprising her role as Catwoman Selina Kyle in the Batman Part 2, despite the fact that it was semi-set up at the end of Penguin when she wrote a letter to Sophia. So, kind of feel like her not being in there, and I thought this in August, and I still think it. Not having her in the Batman 2 is kind of lame. I don't know if it's because she didn't want to do it. I don't know if it's because Matt Reeves didn't, decided for whatever reason not to include that character in there. But yeah, looks like we are for sure not going to get Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. However, chat, to make up for a lack of Zoe Kravitz, according to Nexus Point News, who is pretty damn good, Catwoman Simps crying in the corner, no! Well, if not, they don't necessarily Catwoman Simps. They could be Zoe Kravitz Simps. She's fucking hot. Yeah. This is the big one, folks. This is the big one that might make most people not give 2 fucks about no Zoe Kravitz. According to Nexus Point News, breaking this evening, Scarlett Johansson is in talks to join the Batman Part 2. Here's the article for Nexus Point News. Pre-production on the highly anticipated sequel to The Batman finally ramps up with the first bit of casting news. Sources tell Nexus Point News that Scarlett Johansson is in talks to join the Batman Part 2. ScarJo, jumpin' comic book franchises. No more Marvel? Hello, DC! Details on who Johansson would potentially portray are being kept under wraps, but the role may be a new love interest to Bruce Wayne. Like the first film, Matt Reeves returns to direct with a script co-written by him and Mattson Tomlin. End of sentence. Reeves will produce through his Sixth and Idaho production company alongside producing partner Lynn Harris. Dylan Clark, who produced the first film, will produce the sequel as well. With the film now being under DC Studios, co-heads James Gunn and Peter Safran will serve as producers on the project as well. More accurately, they will get a producer credit just because they run the studio, and they hopefully won't be doing shit with it. Confirmed cast returning for the sequel are Pattinson, Jeffrey Wright, Andy Serkis, and Colin Farrell as Of course, yeah. Pattinson is Bruce Wayne. Jeffrey Wright is Jim Gordon. Serkis is Alfred. And Colin Farrell as Penguin. At the moment, Zoe Kravitz is not expected to return as Catwoman. Yep. Production is expected to begin in late April 2026 and continue into fall at Warner Brothers' Leaves Den studio. Potential characters that Johansson could be portraying are Andrea Beaumont, the Phantasm, Pamela Isley, Poison Ivy, Vicky Vale, or Julie Madison. Now, if you guys recall, the first Keaton Batman movie was Kim Basinger as Vicky Vale. Let's see. Beaumont made her debut in the animated film Batman, The Mask of the Phantasm in 1993 and was created by Alan Burnett, Paul Dini, and Bruce Timm. Beaumont was a past love interest to Bruce, who later breaks off her engagement to him to go into hiding with her father to escape Gotham's mobs. Years later, she reappears in Bruce's life alongside the mysterious vigilante the Phantasm, who is revealed to be Beaumont, who is now on a mission to hunt down her father's enemies. Beaumont would later debut in the comics in Tom King's Batman Catwoman series. Okay, so the Phantasm was an original creation under the animated show. I did not know that. Okay. Poison Ivy debuted in Batman number 181 in 1966 and was created by Robert Kanigher, Carmine Infantino, and Sheldon Moldoff. Ivy is a former botanist turned superpowered eco-terrorist. Over the years, she's been portrayed by a variety of actresses in several forms of media. Vicky Vale debuted in Batman number 49 in 1948 and was created by Bill Finger, Bob Kane, and Lou Schwartz. Vicky is a reporter for the Gotham Gazette and an occasional love interest of Bruce. Vale's been portrayed by Jane Addams and Kim Basinger in Batman and Robin, 1949, and Batman, 1989, respectively. Wow, there is already a Batman and Robin back in 49. Holy shit! Julie Madison debuted in Detective Comics number 31 in 1939 and was created by Gardner Fox, Bob Kane, and Sheldon Moldoff. Madison is often depicted as a socialite or actress and is known for being Bruce's first love interest in the comics. Madison has been portrayed by Elle Macpherson in Batman and Robin 97. So, Elle Macpherson was Madison in Batnips. All right. Johansson is best known for her role as Natasha Romanoff Black Widow in the MCU, which is portrayed in 9 films across the franchise. Other credits include her, Under the Skin, Lucy, Jojo Rabbit, Mary Story, Rebirth, and will next be seen leading Flanagan's upcoming The Exorcist film. Yeah, did you all hear about that? ScarJo's going to be in the next Exorcist, which is interesting. Yada, 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 yada. Okay, so you got trolled hard tonight. It means people are paying attention. It's kind of oh yeah, it's definitely an internet compliment. No, I totally agree with you on that one, C-Dub. No, I like trolls. I like hate watchers. They come in, they give me engagement. I insult them, and then I boot them. It's fun. But I will definitely not be taking as long of these motherfuckers as I did last week. That's for sure. I am not going to be indulging myself. Yo, I'm back, says Del Dan. What's this about my girl ScarJo? Your girl ScarJo is jumping ship from Marvel over to DC. She's going to be in the Batman too. We do not know as who, though. Yet. Yeah. ScarJo, well, technically, she's still in talks. But she's probably going to be in the Batman too. Let's be real. Now, first of all, how do you guys feel about ScarJo jumping off the Marvel ship and jumping onto the DC ship in the Batman 2? Now, think about this. She's not jumping over into any of Gunn's projects. You'll notice. This is the Batman 2. She's jumping into the Reeves-verse, as it were. Not the actual DCU. She's going to a DC project, but this will not be in the DCU. This is going to be in Reeves, what does he call it? Massive Crime Saga or some shit like that. First of all, how do you feel about that? ScarJo in Battinson. You want anything, ScarJo? Don't give a fuck? I mean, yeah. Totally fair. I think it's interesting that she went to the Elseworlds section of DC rather than the Gunn portion of DC. Excuse me. But this is an L for Marvel. Yeah. Nowhere near as big as an L as it would have been like 2 to 4 years ago, though. Like they had their drama with the Black Widow thing. Like she hasn't outside of Black Widow, she hasn't been in shit since Endgame Marvel. Obviously they had that big falling out with the lawsuit and shit. Now there have been rumblings that she would produce a show for Disney for Marvel for Disney Plus, Blonde Bombshell or whatever the fuck it was supposed to be called, but haven't heard shit about that in months. So it's not like she's super duper active in Marvel these days, or even really has been for about 2 or 3 years. So while it would be nice, it would be nice to get her back in, Doomsday or at least Secret Wars. Yeah, it appears she probably is completely done with Marvel. And if she's doing this, oh, and by the way, if you recall, damn it, I got rid of the fucking bookmark. Let me verify. Okay, so yeah, Batman 2 begins filming next spring. And here's the fun part about that. And this is almost kind of, yeah, I know, fucking twat waffles. So here's the thing about that timing. So Batman 2 starts filming in spring. So, March, April, May at the absolute latest. No, they really don't, Brooke. They're never mind. But they don't. I'll just leave it there. So the timing is interesting. If she's going to be in Doomsday, that means she would have to be one of the first people to do the reshoots come February, I think is when those are. And if she's going to be in Secret Wars starts filming in April. So she will literally be filming the Batman 2. You call the next time out? Cool. Yeah, and don't permaban them, just time them out for 24 hours. That way they can come back and give me engagement, and I get the joy of doing that to them again. Or you guys get that joy. We're getting to that, Brooke. We're getting to that. What the fuck was I saying? Where was I? Right. So, based on when the Batman 2 is filming, when the additional photography for Doomsday is happening, and when Secret Wars is filming, guys, I don't think we're seeing ScarJo in another Marvel movie. I mean, they could squeeze her in, again, early in the Doomsday reshoots, or additional photography. But outside of that, she's going to be busy filming the Batman 2 towards the end of the additional Doomsday photography, and simultaneously, only I can perm ban? Okay. And then also simultaneously with Secret Wars. Like, where the L comes in for not having her around is in these next 2 Avengers movies. After that, kind of doesn't matter. I mean, do I want her to stay around as Black Widow? Of course. I mean, fucking look at her, bro. But, yeah, it is her being in either of these next 2 Avengers movies, especially given this and the timing of when everything is filming. For a while I was like, she'll end up being in it. She'll want to close it out, have a little fun, and then call it a day. But the way this shit's timing out, I'm leaning towards we're not going to fucking see her, guys. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they find a way to squeeze her in. Although personally, I'd like her to find a way to squeeze me in. But yeah, it's really looking highly unlikely that she's going to be in either Doomsday or Secret Wars. Really hope I'm wrong about this. Really hope I'm wrong. But we shall see. Now, As to Brooke's question, will she be a villain or hero in the Batman 2? Who can replace her? That's a conversation for late next year. Or at least next year when they're going to start casting for some of the replacement characters for the next saga. All right. So, anyway, as to whether she's going to be a hero or a villain, well, Jeff Snyder opined on that on the TwitX today. He said, I can confirm Nexus Point news scoop about ScarJo being in talks for the Batman Part 2. She could very well be playing Bruce's new love interest, as we saw in Nexus Point News' article. But I hear the role will ultimately be revealed as villainous in nature. ScarJo has played the hero a lot, and she's ready to break bad. Now, if you take everything he said, she could very well be playing Bruce's new love interest, but I hear the role will ultimately be revealed as villainous in nature. Now, who does that sound like in the list of characters that Nexus Point News mentioned in their article? Who on that list fits being a love interest for Bruce Wayne, but ultimately is revealed as villainous, or at least somewhat villainous? Catwoman is more of an anti-hero, plus we already have the Catwoman actress. Exactly. So who in that Nexus Point article was mentioned that fits the bill of love interest and villainous? Talia al Ghul. Ooh, that's a possibility. I'm going to say unlikely, but it's a possibility. I'll tell you, Chad, it was the first one. It was the first option they mentioned. It's the Phantasm, as they described her. She was a love interest of Bruce's that ended up being a vigilante going after the mob. And vigilantes are technically, including Batman, even though he is the hero, but, so far as most people are concerned, vigilantes are villainous. Right? So in my mind, at least out of the characters that Nexus Point News proposed, I would say Phantasm is the most likely. She looks good in Green Poison Ivy. Oh yeah, definitely. She does look good in Green Poison Ivy. And she's, we've seen her as a redhead plenty of times. Were Poison Ivy and Bruce ever in love, though? Lovers? In a relationship? I can't remember. I don't think so. However, so based on the description between Nexus Point News and what Snyder said here, I would put Phantasm as the best option currently. I know a lot of people immediately thought Poison Ivy, but Jeff Snyder spoke to that too. Won't be Poison Ivy, by the way, according to Snyder. According to Jeff Snyder, it ain't Poison Ivy. And if it ain't Poison Ivy, I'm leaning Phantasm. That character fits the bill. Bruce Wayne lover turns somewhat villainous. So how do you guys feel about this? ScarJo going over to DC, not the DCU, but she's going to the Reeveverse and not the Gunverse. But ScarJo's going to DC. She's probably playing a new love interest for Bruce, but according to Snyder, also will ultimately be revealed as villainous and won't be Poison Ivy. Yeah, I didn't know Phantasm was a female until I read that Nexus Point News article because I hadn't watched Mask of the Phantasm, but that Mask of the Phantasm is where that character got introduced. Then they put her in comics later. she started off as a TV character, just like what's her fucking name? God damn it, Harley Quinn. Both Harley Quinn and the Phantasm are characters that were created for Batman the Animated Series and then ended up in the comics after. Yeah. Yep, Harley Quinn. Created for Batman the Animated Series, then added to the comics. Same with Phantasm, it turns out. What do you guys think? I think ScarJo in DC is going to be dope. Well, I think ScarJo herself is dope, obviously. But I'm very interested to see, well, very interested to see how she fits into the Reeseverse, number one. And number two, I'm very interested to see who she does end up playing. Because obviously her role is 100% purely speculative. Well, for the most part. If you believe Snyder, Poison Ivy's off the list. But outside of that, still plenty of characters she could be. So everything right now is super speculative. But I like it. I like her going to DC. I like her going to the Reeseverse much more than I would like her going to the Gunverse. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's going to be a nice, fresh opportunity for her. She can wash the taste of Disney out of her mouth, as it were. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. Definitely shocking. When I saw that, I was like, what? Holy shit. Like, that was crazy. I don't think anyone saw this coming, or very few people saw this coming. Like, there haven't even been a rumbling about it before today. Like, no one has said anything. Like, not even a hint. If people knew, they kept their fucking mouths shut. Like, these scoopers and insiders. Like, you didn't hear this from My Time. You didn't hear this from Rickman. You didn't hear it from Alex. You didn't even hear it from Snyder before Nexus Point News broke it. Now, Snyder, out of everyone, Snyder's probably the best candidate to have actually known about this prior to today. But, yeah, no one said a fucking thing until literally 6 hours ago. Nice little bit of dinner news. 6-7 hours ago. What if they just pull a fast one and make her Batgirl? I mean, they could. They could very well do that. Wouldn't be the first time Snyder was wrong. It doesn't happen often. He's got one of, if not the best records out there. But yeah, it's entirely possible. Like, they could be doing the Marvel thing and kind of letting it kind of leak out that she might end up being a villain, and let all of us start thinking that, and then speculating on which villain she could be, and then next thing you know, poof, she's Batgirl. Or Batwoman, because there's been both. Now, wasn't Batgirl Barbara Gordon? Or was Barbara Gordon Batwoman? Anyone remember? I can't remember. Yeah, if she's gonna, whichever one is Barbara Gordon, she probably won't be, because in the Reeseverse, Jim Gordon is an African American. So unless she's adopted, like they had Sue Storm adopted in that bullshit Josh Trank Fantastic Four movie. I think Barbara Gordon was Batgirl. Okay. So if she's going to be female Bat character, it'll probably be Batwoman. If Barbara Gordon was Batgirl. Barbara was Batgirl? Okay. So if she's going to be a member of the Bat family, it's going to have to be as Batwoman. At least in the Reeseverse, unless Jim Gordon adopted her. You. So to sum up, ScarJo going to DC in the Reeveverse, possibly playing a love interest of Bruce Wayne, and possibly ending up as villainous in a way by the time it's all said and done. I think that's dope. I think it's a really good opportunity for ScarJo. I think it's a good way for her to keep her feet in the comic book movie genre, because for the most part, she did enjoy her time in the MCU, for the most part. Not all of it, but for the most part. But yeah, it's a way for her to stay doing CBMs, but not have to deal with Disney's bullshit anymore. So for her, it's a win-win. For us, it's kind of a win-win because we're still going to get to see her in cool comic book shit. And yeah. And just, seeing ScarJo's a win, always. What do you guys think? It's fucking late. I got to work tomorrow, so I need to get out of here, but I want your thoughts first. Give me your final takes, chat, and then I'm getting the fuck out of here. Could be dope. Yep. Don't know much about Phantasm, to be honest. Neither do I. What I know about Phantasm is what I just read in that Nexus article. Want to see that animated film about Phantasm now? Yeah, I know. Me too, right? Good research. Doesn't Catwoman fit that mold? Catwoman does fit that mold, but Selena Kyle's already Catwoman in the Reeveverse. Whether she's in the movie or not, they already have their Catwoman. So Catwoman's out, and according to Snyder, Poison Ivy's out. That still leaves all kinds of characters she could be. Win-win either way? Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. Fucking big shocking news. Don't think anyone except, obviously, people that work at fucking DC saw it coming. ScarJo obviously saw it coming. But yeah, not a rumble from any of the usual scoopy, insidery suspects. Until Nexus Point News broke it today. Honestly, I hope Rickman and My Time are sitting wherever it is they sit, pouting in each other's DMs that they didn't get this one. That would be funny. All right, chat. Any more thoughts? Because if not, we're done. Or at least I'm done. Oh, C-Dub. It is 12:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's official. Happy motherfucking birthday, my guy. Let's get a little more birthday love in the chat for C-Dub, because now it's official. At least in my time zone, so that's what we're going with, because it's my goddamn stream. A little more birthday love for C-Dub before we get the fuck out of here, guys. Show them how much we care. All right. Well, while you guys are showing C-Dub love, it's time for me to begin the exit process. So thank you all for being here. Thank you guys for hanging out for another 3.5 plus hours. Really appreciate you. Thank you for your patience with me dealing the chuds. Like I said, I'm never going to go all in on them. Well, I can't say never. But 99% of the time, I'm not going to go all in hard on them. Pause. The way I did last week. I'll let them give me a little engagement, and then I'll boot them. I'd love to be a fly on the wall at DC listening to James Gunn and Matt Reeves deciding over which characters they can use in their movies. Oh, I know. I know, right? Oh, yeah. Join the Discord. Hit like. Hit subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Everyone needs to hit like. If you're new, subscribe and notification bell. And also click that Discord link and join the Discord. we post cool shit in there. We have a little bit of fun in there. It's not super active, but, we do our thing. And the biggest reason to join the Discord is because the notifications in there are way more reliable than YouTube's. YouTube will fuck up and not notify people of stuff that it's supposed to. Dub first troll stream. It actually wasn't, though. I dealt with this bullshit last Wednesday or Saturday. I don't know. Yeah, it was Saturday. I don't know why I'm all of a sudden so popular with these motherfuckers again, but again, that's fine. They can come in here, give me some engagement, give me views, give me engagement in the chat, and then I'll, and then they're gone after a much shorter interval than Saturday or Wednesday, whatever. Whenever it was, I spent way too long dealing with them fucks. Anywho, yeah, so hit all the buttons that you should hit. Click the links you should click. Share the video. Tell your friends that they need to come hang out in the basement too, because y'all are a dope-ass community. I do okay being entertaining, and we just have a good motherfucking time. So, again, thank y'all for being here, especially hanging out for this long-ass girthy stream. And thanks for chatting. Thanks for subbing. Thanks for just being dope motherfuckers. Really appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And we'll see you Saturday at 10. Aye. Have a good rest of your week. Be careful out there if you are in one of the zones that's been getting shit on with winter weather. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. Much love. And we'll see you Saturday. Bye. Oh, yeah. Another fun stream. Have fun at work, nerds, so stoked to be off. Oh, yeah. 5+ hours of Kill Bill. Fuck yeah, C-Dub. Fuck yeah. But yeah, that was a pretty good stream, even with the chuds. And again, if they want to come and give me free engagement, let me shit on them for a while and then boot them, I'm totally fine with that. But more importantly, thank you guys for being super dope and hanging out as much as you do on the regular. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Hope you have a good rest of your week. Hope you have a safe rest of your week if you're in the shitty weather zone. And we'll see you Saturday night at 10, where we'll talk about whatever the fuck happens between now and then. So, you guys have a great night and rest of your week. And remember this. Wherever you're at and whoever you're with, always keep it nerdy. Much love, y'all. Peace.